In Cosmic Encounter, a gentle sojourn with the stars, we follow the story of Emily, a woman seeking solace from the hustle and bustle of modern life. Tired of the daily grind in the city, Emily decides to take a secluded vacation in a small, idyllic town by the mountains. One serene night, as she sits on the porch of her cabin, looking up at the star-filled sky, her world is about to change in the most unexpected way. A soft, glowing light descends from the heavens, and out steps a being unlike any she's ever seen. The alien, named Zephyr, exudes a calm and friendly aura. Zephyr communicates with Emily not through words, but through a series of gentle, soothing images and emotions projected directly into her mind. As the night unfolds, Emily and Zephyr share a unique connection. Zephyr shows Emily the beauty of the cosmos, from the swirling nebulae to the peaceful orbits of distant planets. Emily, in turn, shares the simple joys of life on Earth, like the taste of fresh, baked bread and the sound of a babbling brook. This encounter is not a thrilling adventure filled with danger, but a slow, paced, relaxing exploration of two different worlds. It's a story that will lull you into a peaceful state, making it the perfect bedtime tale. As you listen, you'll find yourself drifting off, carried by the gentle narrative into a dream-like state, much like Emily's own journey of discovery. Chapter 1: The Serene Encounter. Emily had reached a point in her life where the chaos of the city had become overwhelming. The constant honking of cars, the never-ending stream of people, and the pressure of her corporate job had taken a toll on her. Desperate for a break, she had scoured the internet for a place to escape. That's how she found the small, idyllic mountain town of Silverbrook. Tucked away in the heart of a lush forest, it seemed like a world apart from the hustle and bustle she was used to. She had rented a charming, rustic cabin on the outskirts of the town. It was a simple structure, made of warm, toned wood that seemed to blend seamlessly with the surrounding nature. The cabin had a small porch facing a clearing, beyond which the forest stretched out like a green ocean. A narrow dirt path meandered through the trees, leading to a nearby brook that provided a constant, soothing babbling sound. The day she arrived in Silverbrook, the sun was shining brightly, filtering through the leaves of the trees and casting dappled shadows on the ground. Emily unpacked her few belongings, feeling a sense of relief wash over her as she did so. This was exactly what she needed, a chance to unwind, to be alone with her thoughts, and to reconnect with nature. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange, pink, and purple, Emily decided to make herself a cup of chamomile tea. She carried the steaming cup out to the porch and settled into an old, wooden rocking chair. The air was filled with the earthy scent of the forest, a combination of pine, damp soil, and wild flowers. It was a smell that she had missed in the city, a smell that instantly made her feel at peace. As she sipped her tea, Emily's eyes were drawn to the sky. In the city, the light pollution made it difficult to see more than a handful of stars. But here, in Silverbrook, the sky was a magnificent canvas filled with a countless number of twinkling stars. She leaned back in the rocking chair, closing her eyes for a moment, and let the tranquility of the evening soak into her bones. It was then, as she opened her eyes again, that she noticed a faint, glowing light in the distance. At first, she thought it was a firefly, but it was much too large and bright. Her heart skipped a beat as she watched the light grow closer. It moved slowly, almost gracefully, through the air. As it got nearer, she realized that it was not a natural phenomenon as she had initially thought. The light descended into the clearing in front of her cabin. Emily's breath caught in her throat as she watched a figure emerge from the light. It was a being like no other she had ever seen. It stood about 7 feet tall, with a slender, almost ethereal body. Its skin had a faint, iridescent sheen, like the inside of a seashell, and it seemed to glow with a soft, blue, white light. For a moment, Emily was frozen in place, a mix of fear and curiosity coursing through her veins. But as she looked into the being's eyes, large, almond-shaped orbs that seemed to hold a universe of wisdom, she felt the fear melt away. There was a sense of calm, of peace, that radiated from the being, a feeling that washed over her like a gentle wave. "Hello," Emily said, her voice a little shaky. She wasn't sure if the being could understand her or even communicate in a way she would recognize. The being, which Emily would soon come to know as Zephyr, responded in a most unexpected way. Instead of words, a series of vivid images began to form in Emily's mind. The first image was of a vast expanse of space, filled with swirling nebulae in a riot of colors, purples, pinks, and blues. Galaxies spun gracefully, their arms filled with billions of stars. Emily felt a sense of wonder and awe as she witnessed this cosmic spectacle in her mind's eye. Next, Zephyr showed her an image of its home planet. It was a world unlike anything Emily had ever imagined. The planet had large, floating mountains made of a crystalline substance that refracted the light in 1,000 different directions, creating a dazzling display. Rivers of what seemed like liquid metal flowed between the mountains, and the sky was a deep, rich purple color. Emily was completely entranced. She had always been fascinated by the idea of extraterrestrial life, but she had never expected to actually come face to face with an alien being, let alone have it share images of its home world with her. In response, Emily decided to share some of her own experiences with Zephyr. She focused on memories of her life in the city. She showed Zephyr the towering skyscrapers, their glass facades reflecting the sunlight. The crowded streets filled with people going about their daily lives, the sounds of traffic, and the smell of street food wafting through the air. She then thought about the things she loved most about Earth, the taste of freshly baked apple pie, the feel of sand between her toes on a beach, and the simple joy of a warm, sunny day in a park. As she projected these images and feelings into her mind, she hoped that Zephyr could understand them. Zephyr seemed particularly intrigued by the concept of human emotions. Emily could sense a kind of gentle probing in her mind as Zephyr tried to understand the depth and complexity of emotions like love, sadness, and happiness. She shared memories of her family, the love she felt for her parents and siblings, and the pain of losing a dear friend. As the night wore on, the conversation between Emily and Zephyr continued. It was a slow, meandering exchange of ideas, experiences, and emotions. Emily found herself becoming more and more relaxed, the initial shock of the encounter giving way to a sense of comfort and familiarity. Zephyr then showed her images of other planets it had visited. One planet was covered entirely in ice, with towering glaciers that reached miles into the sky. Another had a thick, colorful atmosphere that shifted and changed like a living thing. Each image was more incredible than the last, and Emily felt as if she were on a cosmic journey without ever leaving her porch. Emily, in turn, shared more about human culture. She thought about art, the beauty of a Monet painting, the power of a Beethoven symphony, and the creativity of a Shakespeare play. Zephyr seemed to absorb these concepts with great interest, and Emily could feel a sense of mutual respect growing between them. As the hours passed, Emily's eyelids began to grow heavy. The long day of traveling, the peacefulness of the forest, and the gentle exchange with Zephyr were taking their toll on her. Zephyr seemed to sense her fatigue. It projected an image of a peaceful, dream-filled sleep into Emily's mind. Emily smiled weakly. "Thank you," she said, though she wasn't sure if Zephyr could understand the words. She leaned back further in the rocking chair, feeling a warm, drowsy feeling wash over her. As she closed her eyes, she could still see the faint glow of Zephyr's body in her mind's eye. In that moment, as she teetered on the edge of sleep, Emily knew that this encounter was something truly special. It was a moment that would stay with her forever, a connection to a world beyond her imagination. And with that thought, she drifted off into a deep, peaceful sleep, surrounded by the sounds of the forest and the gentle presence of her found alien friend. The night passed quietly, and when Emily woke up the next morning, the sun was streaming through the trees. For a moment, she thought she had dreamed the entire encounter with Zephyr. But as she looked out at the clearing in front of the cabin, she could still see a faint, shimmering residue of the light from the previous night. It was a reminder that the extraordinary experience had been real, and that her life had just taken an unexpected and wonderful turn. She stretched, feeling refreshed and more at peace than she had in a long time. As she made her way inside to make some breakfast, her mind was filled with the images and feelings from the encounter with Zephyr. She couldn't wait to see if Zephyr would return that night, to continue their exploration of each other's worlds. And as she prepared a simple meal of toast and coffee, she couldn't help but smile, knowing that she was now part of something much bigger than she could have ever imagined. Chapter 2: Unveiling the Cosmic Tapestry. The morning after her encounter with Zephyr, Emily felt a sense of excitement and anticipation that she hadn't experienced in years. The events of the previous night had been like a beautiful dream, but the faint shimmer in the clearing outside her cabin served as a tangible reminder of its reality. As she went about her day, exploring the forest paths around the cabin, her mind kept returning to Zephyr and the incredible images of other worlds it had shared with her. The forest was alive with the sounds of birds chirping and small animals scurrying through the underbrush. The sunlight filtered through the leaves, creating a pattern of light and shadow on the forest floor. Emily took a deep breath, inhaling the fresh, earthy scent of the woods. Every sight and sound seemed more vivid, more beautiful, after her encounter with Zephyr. It was as if her perspective on the world had shifted, and she was seeing the beauty of her own planet with new eyes. As the day wore on, Emily found herself looking forward to the coming night. She wondered if Zephyr would return, and if so, what new wonders they would share. She spent the afternoon gathering wild flowers along the brook, creating a colorful bouquet to brighten up the cabin. As she arranged the flowers in a vase, she thought about the images of Zephyr's home planet, with its floating mountains and liquid, crystal rivers. She couldn't help but compare the simple beauty of the wild flowers to the otherworldly splendor she had witnessed in her mind. Finally, as the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the forest, Emily made her way back to the porch. She prepared a cup of her favorite tea, this time a blend of lavender and lemon balm, known for its calming properties. As she sat in the rocking chair, she watched the sky gradually change color, from a bright orange to a deep purple. The first stars began to appear, twinkling faintly in the growing darkness. It wasn't long before she saw the familiar, glowing light in the distance. Her heart skipped a beat with excitement as the light descended into the clearing. Zephyr emerged from the light, its body glowing softly. Emily felt a sense of warmth and welcome wash over her. "Hello, Zephyr," she said, a wide smile spreading across her face. Zephyr responded with a series of gentle, soothing emotions projected into Emily's mind, a sense of friendliness and a desire to continue their exchange. This time, Zephyr began by showing Emily more about the technology on its home planet. Images of advanced flying vehicles, not unlike sleek, glowing pods, filled Emily's mind. These vehicles seemed to move effortlessly through the air, using some form of anti-gravity technology. Zephyr also shared images of their communication devices. Instead of the complex gadgets humans used, their communication was based on a kind of telepathic network. Everyone on the planet was connected, able to share thoughts and emotions instantaneously. Emily was amazed at the simplicity and efficiency of it. She couldn't help but think about how different human communication was, with its reliance on phones, computers, and other devices that often caused misunderstandings due to the limitations of language. In return, Emily decided to share more about human technology. She showed Zephyr images of the Internet, explaining how it connected people all over the world. She thought about how information could be shared instantaneously, but also about the problems it caused, like the spread of misinformation and the isolation that sometimes came with excessive screen time. She also shared images of medical technology. Emily projected memories of her visits to the hospital, the advanced machines used to diagnose and treat diseases. She explained how humans had made great progress in medicine, but also about the challenges they faced, like the high cost of healthcare and the struggle to find cures for some diseases. Zephyr seemed fascinated by the concept of money and the economic system on Earth. Emily tried to explain how humans used currency to exchange goods and services, and how different countries had different economic systems. She showed Zephyr images of busy marketplaces, with people haggling over prices, and of large banks and financial institutions. Zephyr, in turn, showed her that on its planet, resources were shared equally among the population. There was no need for money as everything was provided for the well-being of all. As the conversation continued, Zephyr then shifted to the topic of art. It showed Emily the art forms on its home planet. Instead of paintings and sculptures as humans knew them, their art was more of a combination of light, sound, and energy. They created large-scale installations in the sky, using the natural elements of their planet to produce a symphony of colors and sounds. Emily was completely entranced by these images. The beauty and creativity of Zephyr's planet's art were beyond anything she could have imagined. Emily then shared some of her favorite human art forms. She thought about music, projecting memories of a live concert she had attended. The energy of the crowd, the powerful sound of the band, and the way the music seemed to move through her body. She also shared images of different types of dance, from the grace of ballet to the energetic movements of hip-hop. Zephyr was particularly interested in the concept of dance. It seemed to understand the way humans used movement to express emotions. In response, Zephyr showed Emily a form of movement on its planet that was a cross between dance and a form of meditation. The beings on Zephyr's planet would move in synchronized patterns, their bodies flowing and shifting in a way that seemed to be in harmony with the energy of the planet. As the night deepened, Emily and Zephyr continued to share more about their respective cultures. Emily told Zephyr about the different religions on Earth, explaining the various beliefs and practices. Zephyr, in turn, shared its planet's understanding of the universe and the spiritual connection they felt to all things. Their concept of spirituality was based on a deep respect for the energy that flowed through the universe, and they believed that every being, no matter how small or large, was an important part of this cosmic web. As Emily listened and shared, she felt a growing sense of connection, not just to Zephyr, but to the entire universe. She realized how small and yet how significant humans were in the grand scheme of things. The differences between her world and Zephyr's were vast, but there were also so many similarities: the desire for connection, the pursuit of knowledge, and the creation of beauty. As the hours passed, Emily once again felt a sense of fatigue. The long night of sharing and learning had taken its toll on her. Zephyr, as always, seemed to sense her tiredness. It projected an image of a peaceful rest, along with a feeling of comfort and safety. Emily yawned and smiled at Zephyr. "Thank you for another wonderful night," she said. She leaned back in the rocking chair, feeling a warm, drowsy feeling wash over her. As she closed her eyes, she could still see the faint glow of Zephyr's body and the images of the otherworldly art and technology they had shared. As she drifted off to sleep, Emily knew that these encounters with Zephyr were changing her. She was becoming more aware of the beauty and complexity of the universe, and she was starting to see her own life and the world around her in a new light. And as she fell into a deep, peaceful sleep, she looked forward to the next night, to continue her exploration of Zephyr's world and to share more of her own. The next morning, when Emily woke up, she felt a sense of purpose. She wanted to learn more about Zephyr's planet, not just for her own curiosity, but also to see if there were any lessons that humans could learn from it. She spent the day writing down all the things she had learned from Zephyr, making a mental note of the questions she wanted to ask the next time they met. As the sun shone through the windows of the cabin, Emily knew that her time in Silver Brook was becoming something truly special. Her encounter with Zephyr was like a door opening to a whole new universe of knowledge and experience, and she was eager to see where this journey would take her. Chapter 3 – Delving Deeper into Cosmic Mysteries. The days following her second encounter with Zephyr passed in a blur of anticipation and reflection for Emily. Each morning, she would wake up with the memories of the previous night's exchange vivid in her mind, fueling her eagerness for the next meeting. She spent her days exploring the forest around the cabin, but her thoughts were constantly on Zephyr and the wonders of its world. As the evening of the third encounter approached, Emily prepared herself with a sense of excitement. She had spent the day gathering more wildflowers, this time to create a small, makeshift altar on the porch. She thought it might be a nice gesture to offer Zephyr a symbol of Earth's beauty. The sun set, casting a warm, golden glow over the forest, and Emily took her place in the rocking chair, a cup of steaming tea in hand. Before long, the familiar glowing light descended into the clearing. Zephyr emerged, and Emily felt a rush of warmth and connection. "Zephyr, I'm so glad you're here," she said, her eyes shining with enthusiasm. Zephyr responded with a wave of positive emotions, a sign of its own eagerness to continue their exchange. This time, Zephyr began by delving into the concept of time on its planet. Images filled Emily's mind of a time-keeping system that was not based on the rotation of a planet or the orbit of a moon, as it was on Earth. Instead, time on Zephyr's planet was measured by the ebb and flow of a particular energy field that permeated the entire planet. Emily was intrigued. She tried to understand how such a system worked. Zephyr showed her how the beings on its planet could sense the changes in this energy field, which allowed them to mark the passage of time with great precision. In contrast, Emily shared with Zephyr the different ways humans measured time, from the ancient sundials to the highly accurate atomic clocks of modern times. She also talked about how the concept of time was often associated with stress and deadlines in human society. Zephyr then moved on to the topic of food. It projected images of the nourishment sources on its planet. The food on Zephyr's world was not in the form of solid or liquid substances as on Earth. Instead, the beings absorbed energy directly from certain plants that emitted a special kind of life, giving energy. These plants were carefully cultivated in large, floating gardens that were tended to by a group of dedicated individuals. Emily was fascinated by this concept. She shared with Zephyr the vast variety of foods on Earth, from the spicy cuisines of India to the delicate pastries of France. She described the process of growing food, cooking, and the social aspect of sharing meals. She also talked about the issues of food security and the environmental impact of modern agricultural practices on Earth. Next, Zephyr wanted to know more about human relationships. Emily thought about the different types of relationships: friendships, romantic partnerships, and family bonds. She shared memories of the joy of spending time with friends, the deep connection she felt with her family, and the complexities of romantic love. She also talked about the challenges that came with relationships, like misunderstandings, break-ups, and the need for compromise. In response, Zephyr showed Emily the way relationships were formed on its planet. Since communication was telepathic, misunderstandings were rare. The beings on Zephyr's planet formed bonds based on a shared sense of purpose and a deep understanding of each other's emotions. They had a strong sense of community, and every individual was considered an important part of the whole. As the conversation continued, Zephyr began to share some of the scientific discoveries on its planet. It showed Emily images of a machine that could manipulate matter at a sub-atomic level. This technology was used for everything from creating new materials to healing injuries. Emily was in awe of the advanced nature of this technology. She thought about the limitations of human science in comparison and how such a machine could revolutionize many aspects of life on Earth. Emily then shared some of the great scientific achievements of humans, like the landing on the Moon, the discovery of penicillin, and the development of the Internet. She also talked about the ethical dilemmas that often accompanied scientific progress, such as the use of nuclear weapons and the potential negative impacts of genetic engineering. Zephyr seemed to understand the importance of these ethical considerations. It showed Emily how on its planet, every scientific advancement was carefully evaluated in terms of its impact on the planet, its inhabitants, and the universe as a whole. There was a strict code of ethics that guided all scientific research and technological development. As the night wore on, Emily and Zephyr's conversation turned to the topic of dreams. Emily shared how humans often had vivid, sometimes confusing dreams that could be influenced by their daily experiences, fears, and desires. She told Zephyr about the field of dream analysis and how some people believed that dreams could hold hidden meanings. Zephyr, in turn, showed her that on its planet, dreams were a form of communication with the collective consciousness. The beings on Zephyr's planet could enter a shared dream-like state, where they could exchange ideas, solve problems, and strengthen their community bonds. As the hours passed, Emily once again felt the pull of fatigue. Zephyr, as always, sensed her tiredness and projected an image of a peaceful slumber. Emily yawned and said, "Thank you, Zephyr. These nights with you are truly amazing." She leaned back in the rocking chair, her mind filled with the images and ideas they had shared. As she closed her eyes, she thought about how much she had learned in such a short time. Her understanding of the universe, of other cultures, and of her own world had expanded exponentially. The next morning, Emily woke up with a new sense of clarity. She realized that the knowledge she was gaining from Zephyr could potentially be shared with the world. But she also knew that such a revelation would be met with disbelief and perhaps even fear. She spent the day walking through the forest, thinking about how she could introduce these ideas in a way that would be accepted. She thought about writing a book, but she was worried that people might think it was just a work of science fiction. She considered approaching some scientists or philosophers, but she was afraid they might dismiss her as crazy. As the sun began to set on this day of deep thought, Emily knew that she had a difficult decision to make. But she also knew that she couldn't keep these amazing discoveries to herself forever. Back at the cabin, as she sat on the porch, she looked out at the clearing, wondering if Zephyr would have any advice for her. She was eager for the next encounter, not just to learn more about Zephyr's world, but also to seek guidance on how to handle this new, found knowledge. The forest was quiet, and the stars were beginning to appear in the sky. Emily took a deep breath, filled with a sense of anticipation and a touch of anxiety about what the future might hold. As she waited for the night to deepen, Emily's mind raced with possibilities. She thought about the potential benefits of sharing Zephyr's knowledge, how it could improve human society, solve some of the pressing problems on Earth, and bring people closer together. But she also couldn't ignore the potential negative consequences, the fear, the chaos, and the resistance that might come with such a radical revelation. Finally, as the night reached its peak, Emily saw the familiar glow in the distance. Zephyr was coming, and she knew that this encounter might hold the answers she was looking for. With a mix of excitement and trepidation, she watched as the light descended into the clearing and Zephyr emerged once again. "Zephyr," she said, her voice a little more serious this time. "I've been thinking about all the things we've shared, and I'm not sure what to do. I want to share this knowledge with others on Earth, but I'm afraid of how they'll react." Zephyr seemed to understand her concerns. It projected a series of images into her mind. The first image was of a group of humans, their faces filled with wonder and acceptance as they learned about Zephyr's world. Then, there were images of some humans reacting with fear and confusion. But the final image showed Emily, standing in front of a large group of people, speaking with confidence, and gradually winning them over with the beauty and logic of the knowledge she was sharing. Zephyr then projected a sense of calm and assurance into Emily's mind. It seemed to be telling her that while there would be challenges, it was important to follow her heart. Emily took a deep breath, feeling a new sense of determination. She knew that the road ahead would be difficult, but with Zephyr's support, she was ready to take the first step in sharing this extraordinary knowledge with the world. Over the next few hours, Emily and Zephyr continued their conversation. Zephyr shared more about how its planet had faced similar challenges in the past when new knowledge was introduced. It told Emily about the importance of patience, education, and leading by example. Emily listened intently, taking mental notes and feeling more confident with each passing moment. As the night came to an end, Emily once again felt the need to rest. But this time, as she drifted off to sleep, she was filled with a sense of purpose. She knew that her encounter with Zephyr was not just a personal adventure but a potentially world-changing event. And as she slept, she dreamed of a future where the knowledge from Zephyr's world had brought about positive change on Earth. Chapter 4: The Leap Towards Sharing and Change. Emily woke up the next morning with a newfound resolve. The images and the sense of encouragement she had received from Zephyr the previous night were still fresh in her mind. She knew that sharing the knowledge she had gained from Zephyr was going to be a Herculean task, but she was determined to make it happen. She started her day by sitting at the small table in the cabin, with a pen and a stack of paper in front of her. Her first thought was to create a detailed account of her encounters with Zephyr. She began to write, describing Zephyr's appearance, the way they communicated, and the amazing things she had learned about its planet, the unique time-keeping system, the energy-based food sources, and the advanced technology. As she wrote, she realized that simply documenting the information was not enough. She needed a plan on how to present it to the world. She thought about approaching scientists first. They might be more open-minded to the idea of extraterrestrial knowledge, especially if she could present it in a scientific-sounding manner. She made a list of well-known astrophysicists, biologists, and engineers who she thought might be interested in her story. After spending the morning writing, Emily decided to take a break and go for a walk in the forest. The familiar sounds of the birds and the rustling of the leaves under her feet helped to clear her mind. As she walked, she rehearsed in her head what she would say to these scientists. She knew that they would be skeptical at first, and she needed to be prepared to answer their questions. When she returned to the cabin in the afternoon, she continued with her preparations. She created a presentation on her laptop, including some of the concepts she had learned from Zephyr, illustrated with simple drawings and diagrams. She also thought about the potential objections she might face. Some scientists might dismiss her as a delusional person, while others might be worried about the implications of such knowledge on the existing scientific theories. As the evening approached, Emily found herself looking forward to seeing Zephyr again. She wanted to share her plans and get more advice. The sun set, and she took her place on the porch, waiting for the glowing light. When Zephyr arrived, Emily greeted it with a sense of excitement and nervousness. "Zephyr, I've been working on a plan to share what I've learned from you. I've started writing an account and preparing a presentation for scientists. But I'm still a bit worried," she said. Zephyr projected a sense of approval and encouragement. It then showed her images of how knowledge was spread on its planet. When new discoveries were made, they were first shared within small, trusted groups of scholars and thinkers. These groups would study and verify the information before presenting it to the wider community. Emily took this as a cue. She decided that she would start by reaching out to a small group of scientists she trusted, those who had a reputation for being open-minded and forward-thinking. Zephyr also showed her how important it was to be patient and to let the knowledge sink in gradually. Rushing the process could lead to misunderstandings and resistance. Over the next few hours, Zephyr and Emily continued to discuss the best way to share the knowledge. Zephyr also shared more about the social and cultural changes that occurred on its planet when new technologies and ideas were introduced. It told Emily about the importance of addressing the fears and concerns of the people. As the night wore on, Emily felt more confident in her plan. She thanked Zephyr for its guidance and, as always, as fatigue set in, Zephyr projected an image of peaceful sleep. Emily closed her eyes, feeling that she was one step closer to her goal. The next day, Emily began to reach out to the scientists on her list. She sent them carefully crafted emails, briefly introducing herself and hinting at the extraordinary knowledge she had to share. She invited them to a private meeting at her cabin, assuring them that what she had to say would be worth their while. To her surprise, several of the scientists replied positively. They were intrigued by her email and were willing to make the trip to the remote cabin. As the days passed and more confirmations came in, Emily started to prepare for their arrival. She cleaned the cabin, stocked it with food and drinks, and made sure her presentation was perfect. Finally, the day of the meeting arrived. The scientists started to arrive one by one, each looking a bit skeptical but also curious. Emily greeted them nervously but with a warm smile. "Thank you all for coming. I know this might seem a bit strange, but I promise you, what I have to share is something truly remarkable," she said. She led them into the cabin and began her presentation. She started by telling them about her decision to come to the cabin for a break from the city. Then, she described the night she first saw Zephyr and the subsequent encounters. As she showed them the images of Zephyr's planet, the unique technology, and the different ways of life, the scientists' expressions changed from skepticism to amazement. One of the astrophysicists, Dr. Jameson, asked, "Emily, this is all very interesting, but how do we know this isn't just a vivid imagination or some elaborate hoax?" Emily took a deep breath. "I understand your skepticism, Dr. Jameson. But everything I'm showing you is based on my real-life encounters. And I'm willing to answer any questions you have. Also, I believe that the knowledge Zephyr has shared could potentially solve some of the most pressing problems we face on Earth." Another scientist, Dr. Chen, a biologist, asked, "What about the food system you described? How could something like that work in our world?" Emily explained how the energy-based food sources on Zephyr's planet could potentially inspire new forms of sustainable nutrition on Earth. She talked about the concept of directly absorbing energy from plants, and how it could reduce the environmental impact of traditional agriculture. As the discussion continued, the scientists began to realize the potential of the knowledge Emily was sharing. They started to ask more in-depth questions, and Emily could see that they were gradually becoming more open-minded. By the end of the meeting, the scientists agreed to form a small research group to further study the information Emily had presented. They also promised to keep the information confidential until they had a better understanding of its implications. Emily was overjoyed. Her first step in sharing the knowledge had been a success. As the scientists left, she felt a sense of relief and excitement. She knew that there was still a long way to go, but this was a significant milestone. That night, when Zephyr arrived, Emily was eager to share the news. "Zephyr, the meeting with the scientists went better than I expected. They're willing to study the knowledge and see how it can be applied. Thank you for your guidance," she said. Zephyr projected a sense of pride and continued to support her. It showed her images of how this small step could lead to greater changes in the future. Over the next few hours, Zephyr and Emily talked about the next steps. They discussed how to further collaborate with the scientists, and how to gradually introduce the knowledge to a wider audience. As the night ended, Emily once again drifted off to sleep, filled with hope and anticipation. She knew that the journey ahead would still be filled with challenges, but she was confident that with Zephyr's help and the support of the scientists, she could make a positive impact on the world. In the following days, Emily worked closely with the group of scientists. They held regular video conferences to discuss their findings and to plan the next phase of their research. The scientists were divided into teams, each focusing on a different aspect of the knowledge from Zephyr's world: the technology, the food system, the social structure, and the scientific concepts. One team of engineers was particularly interested in the matter, manipulating machine Zephyr had shown Emily. They started to study how such a technology could be replicated on Earth, even if on a smaller scale. Another team of biologists was exploring the potential of the energy-based food sources, looking into how they could adapt the concept to Earth's ecosystem. As the research progressed, Emily continued to have her nightly encounters with Zephyr. Zephyr provided more details and clarifications on the various concepts, helping the scientists in their studies. It also warned Emily about the potential ethical issues that might arise as they delved deeper into the knowledge. One night, Zephyr showed Emily an image of a society that had misused advanced technology, leading to its own destruction. "We must be careful, Zephyr. I'll make sure the scientists are aware of these risks," Emily said. She then called a meeting with the scientists to discuss the ethical implications. "We need to ensure that any technology or knowledge we gain from this research is used for the betterment of humanity and the planet. We can't let it be misused," she told them. The scientists agreed, and they formed an ethics committee to oversee the research. As the weeks passed, the research group made significant progress. They had developed some initial theories on how to adapt Zephyr's technology, and they were starting to see the potential in the new food concepts. Emily was elated to see the progress. She knew that they were on the verge of something big. The once skeptical scientists were now fully committed to the research, and Emily could sense that they were as excited as she was about the possibilities. As the research continued, Emily also started to think about how to gradually introduce the knowledge to the public. She knew that it was still too early to make a grand announcement, but she wanted to start laying the groundwork. She discussed with Zephyr the idea of writing a series of articles for scientific magazines, introducing the concepts in a more palatable way. Zephyr agreed with her plan and provided some suggestions on how to present the information in a way that would capture the public's imagination. Emily took these suggestions to heart and began to write the articles. She focused on the positive impacts the knowledge could have on areas like environmental sustainability, healthcare, and social harmony. As she wrote, Emily knew that the future was full of possibilities. The knowledge from Zephyr's world had the potential to transform Earth, but it also came with great responsibility. She was determined to ensure that the journey from this extraordinary encounter to the betterment of humanity was a smooth and ethical one. And with Zephyr by her side and the support of the scientists, she was confident that they could achieve their goals. Chapter 5 – Navigating the Tides of Change. As Emily and the group of scientists delved deeper into the knowledge shared by Zephyr, they found themselves at a crossroads of excitement and trepidation. The initial research had opened up a plethora of possibilities, but they were also acutely aware of the challenges that lay ahead in integrating this extraterrestrial knowledge into human society. The team of engineers working on the matter, manipulating technology, faced a steep learning curve. The principles behind Zephyr's technology were based on concepts that were far beyond the current understanding of human physics. They spent countless hours poring over the notes Emily had taken during her encounters with Zephyr, trying to translate the alien concepts into something tangible. One of the engineers, Dr. Ramirez, exclaimed in frustration one day, "These principles are so foreign to us. It's like trying to build a house with tools we've never seen before." But instead of giving up, they decided to take a step-by-step approach. They started by identifying the fundamental differences between Zephyr's physics and their own. They hypothesized that if they could first understand the underlying energy sources and how they interacted at a sub-atomic level, they might be able to reverse-engineer some aspects of the technology. Meanwhile, the biologists exploring the energy-based food concept were making progress of a different kind. They had started small-scale experiments, trying to identify plants on Earth that might have the potential to be modified to emit the kind of life-giving energy described by Zephyr. They were collaborating with botanists and geneticists, pooling their knowledge to understand if there were any native species that could serve as a starting point. Dr. Chen, leading the biological research, said, "We've found a few plant species that show some interesting properties. They seem to have a unique energy signature, but we're still a long way from creating an based food source like the ones on Zephyr's planet. Emily, in the midst of all this research activity, was busy with her writing. She had completed the first draft of her articles for the scientific magazines. The articles were carefully crafted to introduce the concepts in an engaging and accessible way. She described the beauty of Zephyr's world, the harmony of its social structure, and the potential benefits these ideas could bring to Earth. As she shared the drafts with the scientists for feedback, she also continued her nightly conversations with Zephyr. One night, Zephyr projected an image of a large, global gathering. The people in the image were from all corners of the world, coming together to celebrate the new knowledge and its potential to unite humanity. Zephyr, I hope that's what will happen, but I'm worried about the resistance we might face when we start to make this knowledge more public, Emily said. Zephyr then showed her a series of images of how its own planet had overcome similar resistance. It explained that education, transparency, and a focus on the common good were the keys. By highlighting the positive impacts on all aspects of life, from the individual to the global community, the people on Zephyr's planet were able to embrace new ideas. Taking this to heart, Emily decided to expand her writing efforts. She started to write a book that would not only detail the scientific knowledge but also the cultural and social aspects of Zephyr's world. She wanted to create a comprehensive resource that could be used to educate the public. As the scientists continued their research, word began to spread within the scientific community. Some other researchers, upon hearing rumors of the extraordinary project, started to reach out to Emily and the group. At first, they were met with a lot of skepticism, but as they shared some of the preliminary findings, more and more scientists became interested in joining the effort. However, not everyone was receptive. There were some in the scientific establishment who were highly critical. They dismissed the whole project as a waste of time and resources, believing that it was based on unfounded claims. One prominent scientist, Dr. Thompson, publicly criticized the research, saying, "This is nothing but a fantasy. There's no scientific basis for these so-called extraterrestrial concepts." Emily and the group were disheartened by this criticism, but they refused to be deterred. They knew that they had something real, something that could change the world. They decided to focus on their research and let the results speak for themselves. In response to the criticism, Emily wrote an open letter to the scientific community. In the letter, she explained the origin of the knowledge, the rigorous research process they were undertaking, and the potential benefits it could bring. She invited other scientists to join them in their quest for understanding, rather than dismissing it out of hand. As the days turned into weeks, the research group grew. More scientists from different fields, sociology, psychology, and environmental science, joined the effort. They brought with them new perspectives, which helped to round out the understanding of Zephyr's knowledge. The engineers, after months of hard work, made a breakthrough. They had managed to create a small-scale model that demonstrated a basic principle of the matter: manipulating technology. It was a simple device that could move small particles in a controlled manner, mimicking one of the fundamental aspects of Zephyr's technology. Dr. Ramirez was elated. This is a huge step forward. It shows that the concepts are not just theoretical. We can actually start to build on them. The biologists, too, had made progress. They had identified a combination of genetic modifications that could potentially enhance the energy, emitting properties of a common plant. It was still in the experimental stage, but the results were promising. With these achievements, Emily and the group decided it was time to hold a small, private conference. They invited a select group of scientists, policymakers, and thinkers to present their findings. The conference was held in a secluded mountain resort, away from the prying eyes of the media. At the conference, Emily began by sharing her story of the encounters with Zephyr. She then presented the research findings, from the technological breakthroughs to the biological experiments. The audience was initially skeptical, but as the presentations continued, they were gradually won over. One policymaker, Ms. Liu, said, "This is truly revolutionary. If these concepts can be developed further, they could have a profound impact on our society. But we need to be careful about how we roll this out." The conference led to a series of discussions on the ethical, social, and economic implications of the new knowledge. The group agreed that they needed to develop a comprehensive plan for the dissemination and implementation of the knowledge. As the conference came to an end, Emily felt a sense of accomplishment. They had managed to gain the support and interest of some key individuals. But she knew that this was just the beginning. The real challenge was now to take these findings and turn them into something that could benefit humanity on a global scale. Back at the cabin, Emily shared the news of the conference with Zephyr. Zephyr projected a sense of approval and showed her images of a future where the knowledge had been successfully integrated into human society, leading to a more harmonious and sustainable world. Over the next few hours, they discussed the next steps. Zephyr suggested that they start to build partnerships with international organizations. These organizations could help in the large-scale implementation of the new technologies and concepts. Emily took this advice seriously. She started to research different international bodies, from the United Nations agencies to private sector foundations that were interested in sustainable development. She knew that the road ahead was long and full of obstacles, but she was more determined than ever to see this through. In the following days, Emily reached out to these organizations. She sent them detailed reports of the research findings and the potential impacts. Some organizations showed immediate interest, while others were more cautious. But Emily was patient. She knew that building these partnerships would take time, but it was essential for the future of the project. As she continued to work on these partnerships, Emily also focused on the public education aspect. She revised her book, adding more details about the ethical considerations and the potential social changes. She wanted to make sure that the public was well informed and prepared for the changes that were to come. The scientists, meanwhile, continued their research. They were working on improving the models and experiments, aiming for more significant breakthroughs. The knowledge from Zephyr's world was slowly but surely starting to take root in the human scientific community, and Emily was at the forefront of this revolutionary journey. She knew that the future of humanity could be transformed by this knowledge, and she was committed to making it a positive transformation. As the weeks passed, Emily faced new challenges. Some of the organizations she had reached out to were concerned about the potential geopolitical implications of the new technology. They worried that it could lead to an arms race or an uneven distribution of power. Emily addressed these concerns by emphasizing the importance of international cooperation. She proposed the creation of a global governing body that would oversee the development and implementation of the new knowledge. This body would ensure that the benefits were shared equitably and that the technology was used for peaceful purposes. She discussed this idea with Zephyr, who supported it wholeheartedly. Zephyr showed her images of how its own planet had a similar system of governance for new technologies. This system had ensured that all beings benefited from the technological advancements and that there was no misuse. With Zephyr's support, Emily continued to advocate for the creation of this global governing body. She presented the idea to the scientists and the policymakers who had shown interest in the project. There was a lot of debate, but gradually, the idea started to gain traction. As the project moved forward, Emily also had to deal with the media. Word of the extraordinary research had leaked out, and journalists were now trying to get in touch with her. She knew that she had to be careful about how she presented the information to the public. She didn't want to cause panic or misinformation. She decided to hold a carefully planned press conference. At the press conference, she shared the story of her encounters with Zephyr, the research findings, and the plans for the future. She emphasized the positive impacts the knowledge could have on the world, such as solving environmental problems, improving healthcare, and promoting social harmony. The media reaction was mixed. Some journalists were skeptical, while others were excited about the potential. But Emily knew that this was an important step in making the knowledge more public. She continued to answer questions, remaining calm and confident, and hoping that the public would gradually come to understand the significance of what they were doing. As the days passed, Emily and the group continued to work on all fronts: research, partnerships, and public education. The knowledge from Zephyr's world was slowly but surely making its way into the public consciousness, and Emily was determined to ensure that it led to a better future for all of humanity. Chapter 6: Building the Global Consensus. In the aftermath of the press conference, Emily found herself at the center of a maelstrom of attention. The news of her encounters with Zephyr and the subsequent research had spread like wildfire across the globe. While some welcomed the potential for positive change, others were filled with fear and uncertainty. Emily knew that she had to act quickly to build a global consensus around the integration of Zephyr's knowledge into human society. The first order of business was to address the concerns raised by the international community. Emily, along with the growing team of scientists and policymakers, began a series of diplomatic efforts. They reached out to governments around the world, organizing meetings and presentations to explain the nature of the knowledge, its potential benefits, and the safeguards they intended to put in place. In one such meeting with a group of Asian countries' representatives, Emily started by showing them the progress made in the research. As you can see, the energy-based food concept could revolutionize our agricultural systems, reducing the environmental impact and ensuring food security for all, she said, presenting the latest data from the biologists' experiments. One of the representatives, a diplomat from Thailand, asked, "But what about the potential disruption to our existing agricultural economies? How will we transition our farmers and industries?" Emily had anticipated such questions. "We're developing a comprehensive transition plan. It will involve retraining programs for farmers, introducing new business models, and providing financial incentives. The goal is to ensure a smooth and equitable transition," she replied. The scientists also chimed in, explaining how the technological advancements could create new job opportunities in emerging sectors related to the new knowledge. "Think of it as a new industrial revolution, but this time, with a focus on sustainability and global well-being," Dr. Ramirez added. Meanwhile, the concept of a global governing body to oversee the development and implementation of Zephyr's knowledge was starting to gain more support. International organizations such as the United Nations began to take an active interest. A special committee was formed within the UN to study the implications and formulate guidelines. Emily was invited to present her vision to this committee. This global body should be composed of representatives from all corners of the world, from different scientific disciplines, cultures, and economic backgrounds. Its purpose is to ensure that the knowledge is used for the common good, without any one nation or group monopolizing the benefits, she told the committee members. The committee members engaged in a lively debate. Some were concerned about the potential for bureaucracy and inefficiency, while others were worried about the loss of national sovereignty. Emily listened intently and addressed each concern. "We can design the body in a way that it's lean and efficient. And as for national sovereignty, the body would only set guidelines and ensure compliance with ethical and safety standards. Each country would still have the freedom to adapt the knowledge to its local context," she said. As the diplomatic efforts continued, the public's perception of the project also began to shift. Emily and the team started a global public awareness campaign. They used various media platforms, from social media to traditional news outlets, to share stories about the potential benefits of Zephyr's knowledge. They released documentaries that showed the beauty of Zephyr's world and how its concepts could be translated into solutions for Earth's problems. One documentary focused on the matter, manipulating technology and how it could be used to clean up environmental pollution. Imagine a machine that can break down harmful chemicals at the molecular level, turning them into harmless substances. "This is the kind of potential we're talking about," the narrator said in the documentary. The public's response to these initiatives was gradually becoming more positive. People from different countries started to show their support for the project. Grassroots movements began to form, advocating for the adoption of Zephyr's knowledge in a responsible way. In Africa, a group of young environmentalists started a campaign to promote the energy-based food concept. They believed that it could help solve the continent's long-standing food shortage problems. We see this as an opportunity to build a more sustainable and self-sufficient agricultural system in Africa, said one of the campaign leaders. In Europe, scientists and artists came together to create art installations that depicted the potential future of a world influenced by Zephyr's knowledge. These installations were not only a form of public education but also a way to inspire people's imagination about the possibilities. However, there were still pockets of resistance. Some religious groups were concerned that the new knowledge could undermine their beliefs. Emily and the team met with representatives of these groups to have open and respectful dialogues. In a meeting with a group of religious scholars, Emily said, "We understand your concerns. But the knowledge from Zephyr's world doesn't seek to replace your beliefs. In fact, it can exist and even enhance our understanding of the universe and our place in it." The scholars were initially skeptical, but as the conversation progressed, they began to see the value in an open-minded approach. "We need to study this further, but we appreciate your willingness to engage in this dialogue," one of the scholars said. Back at the research facilities, the scientists were making continuous progress. The engineers had refined the small-scale model of the matter, manipulating technology. It was now capable of more complex operations, such as rearranging the structure of materials to enhance their properties. The biologists, on the other hand, had successfully grown a small batch of plants with enhanced energy-emitting properties in a controlled environment. They were now planning larger-scale field trials to see how these plants would fare in real-world conditions. As the research and the diplomatic efforts advanced, Emily also continued her nightly conversations with Zephyr. One night, Zephyr showed her an image of a unified world, where all nations and cultures had come together to embrace the new knowledge. It projected a sense of hope and encouragement. "Zephyr, we're working hard to make this a reality, but there are still so many challenges," Emily said. Zephyr then shared more about how its planet had overcome internal differences when new knowledge was introduced. It emphasized the importance of cultural exchange and mutual understanding. "On our planet, we organized cultural festivals where different regions could share their unique ways of life. This helped to build a sense of unity and acceptance," Zephyr projected into Emily's mind. Taking this as inspiration, Emily proposed the idea of a global cultural exchange program related to the new knowledge. "We could have events where people from different countries can share their ideas, art, and traditional wisdom in the context of Zephyr's knowledge. This would help to break down barriers and build a more inclusive global community," she said to the team. The team agreed, and they started to plan the details of this cultural exchange program. They reached out to cultural institutions around the world, inviting them to participate. As the plans for the cultural exchange program took shape, Emily and the team also had to deal with the issue of intellectual property. With the development of new technologies based on Zephyr's knowledge, there was a need to establish a fair and equitable system of intellectual property rights. They proposed a new model where the intellectual property would be held in the public domain to a certain extent. This would ensure that the benefits of the new knowledge were accessible to all, while still rewarding the scientists and innovators who were developing the applications. In a meeting with international legal experts, Emily said, "We can't let the new knowledge be monopolized by a few corporations. It's a global asset, and we need to find a way to share it for the betterment of all." The legal experts began to study the feasibility of this new model. They considered the existing international intellectual property laws and how they could be adapted to accommodate the unique nature of the knowledge from Zephyr's world. As the weeks turned into months, the various initiatives, the diplomatic efforts, the public awareness campaign, the cultural exchange program, and the development of the global governing body, were all moving forward. Emily was exhausted but filled with a sense of purpose. She knew that they were making progress towards building a global consensus, but there was still a long way to go. One day, as she sat in her cabin, looking out at the forest that had been the starting point of this incredible journey, she reflected on how far they had come. From a simple encounter with an alien being to a global movement, the road had been long and winding. But she was more determined than ever to see it through to the end, to create a world where the knowledge from Zephyr's world would bring about a more sustainable, harmonious, and inclusive future for all of humanity. The cultural exchange program was launched with great fanfare. The first event was a virtual exhibition that showcased artworks from around the world, all inspired by Zephyr's knowledge. There were paintings, sculptures, and digital art pieces that depicted the potential future of Earth, the beauty of Zephyr's planet, and the connection between the two worlds. People from all over the world visited the virtual exhibition. The comments and feedback were overwhelmingly positive. "This exhibition has opened my eyes to the possibilities of this new knowledge. It's not just about technology but also about how it can enrich our culture," said a visitor from Australia. The diplomatic efforts also bore fruit. The global governing body, now named the Global Council for Cosmic Knowledge, GCCK, was officially established. Representatives from over 150 countries came together to sign the charter of the GCCK. The charter outlined the Council's mission to ensure the ethical development, implementation, and sharing of the knowledge from Zephyr's world. Emily was invited to speak at the inauguration of the GCCK. "Today, we take a giant step forward in our journey. The GCCK is a symbol of our commitment to using this knowledge for the common good. Let us work together to build a future that is brighter, more sustainable, and more inclusive," she said, her voice filled with pride and hope. As the GCCK began its operations, the scientists continued their research. The larger, scale field trials of the energy-based plants were showing promising results. The plants were able to grow in a variety of climates and soil conditions, and they had the potential to provide a new source of sustainable nutrition. The engineers were also making headway. They were in the process of building a larger scale prototype of the matter manipulating machine. This prototype was expected to be capable of more complex tasks, such as recycling waste materials into useful resources. The public awareness campaign had also changed the public's perception of the project. What was once met with skepticism and fear was now widely regarded as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for humanity. People were starting to actively participate in the discussions about how to integrate the new knowledge into their daily lives. Emily knew that there were still challenges ahead. The implementation of the new technologies and concepts would require significant resources and effort. But with the support of the global community, the GCCK, and Zephyr, she was confident that they could overcome these challenges. One night, as she sat on the porch of her cabin, waiting for Zephyr, she thought about the future. She imagined a world where the energy-based food concept had ended world hunger, where the matter-manipulating technology had cleaned up the environment, and where the cultural exchange had led to a more peaceful and understanding global community. Zephyr arrived, and Emily shared her thoughts. Zephyr projected a sense of joy and approval. It showed her images of a future where her dreams had become a reality. And as Emily drifted off to sleep that night, she carried with her the hope and determination to make this vision a reality, for the betterment of humanity and the universe as a whole. Chapter 7 – Implementing the New Paradigm. With the Global Council for Cosmic Knowledge, GCCK, established and the public's perception gradually turning positive, the stage was set for the large-scale implementation of the knowledge derived from Zephyr's world. Emily, along with the scientists, policymakers, and various international organizations, found themselves in the thick of planning and executing the ambitious plans. The first major initiative was the roll-out of the energy-based food concept. The biologists, having successfully completed the field trials, were now working with agricultural experts to scale up production. They identified regions around the world that were most in need of a sustainable food solution, such as arid areas in Africa and parts of Asia facing food shortages. A task force was formed to oversee the implementation. Dr. Chen, the lead biologist, explained the plan. We'll start by providing training to local farmers on how to cultivate these energy-based plants. We'll also set up small-scale processing units to convert the plants into a form that can be easily consumed. And to ensure long-term success, we'll establish a support system that includes access to seeds, fertilizers, and technical advice. In countries like Kenya, the local government was enthusiastic about the project. They allocated land for the cultivation of the new plants and provided incentives for farmers to participate. Emily visited the Kenyan project site to see the progress firsthand. This is a crucial step. Not only will it solve the immediate food problem, but it will also lay the foundation for a more sustainable agricultural future, she told the local farmers and officials. However, the implementation was not without challenges. Some farmers were skeptical about the new plants. They were accustomed to traditional crops and were worried about the risks involved in switching. "We've grown maize and millet for generations. What if these new plants don't work? We'll lose our livelihoods," said an elderly farmer in Kenya. To address these concerns, the task force organized demonstration farms. They showed the farmers how the energy-based plants were more resilient to drought and pests compared to traditional crops. They also provided financial guarantees in case of crop failure during the initial years. Slowly but surely, more farmers began to embrace the new concept. Meanwhile, the engineers were focused on the large-scale prototype of the matter-manipulating machine. The construction of the prototype was a massive undertaking, involving the collaboration of engineers from different countries. The machine was designed to be housed in a large, specially built facility. Dr. Ramirez, leading the engineering team, said, "This machine will be a game changer. It has the potential to revolutionize waste management, manufacturing, and even healthcare. But we need to ensure that it's built to the highest safety and quality standards." The development of the machine faced technical hurdles. The energy requirements to power the matter-manipulating process were enormous, and the engineers had to find a sustainable energy source. They explored options such as advanced solar power systems and new types of energy storage devices. In addition to these technological challenges, there were also regulatory issues. The GCCK had to develop a comprehensive set of safety regulations for the operation of the machine. Emily was actively involved in these discussions. "We need to make sure that the machine is safe for the operators, the environment, and the general public. These regulations will be the cornerstone of its successful implementation," she said during a GCCK meeting. As the energy-based food and matter-manipulating machine projects were underway, the cultural exchange program continued to thrive. The virtual exhibitions were followed by international conferences and workshops. These events brought together artists, scientists, philosophers, and representatives from different cultures to discuss the impact of Zephyr's knowledge on human values, art, and society. One such conference in Paris focused on the philosophical implications of the new knowledge. Philosophers from different traditions debated how the concept of a unified cosmic energy, as described by Zephyr, could reshape human understanding of the self, the universe, and ethics. This new knowledge challenges our traditional Western and Eastern philosophical frameworks. It forces us to think in new ways about our place in the cosmos, said a French philosopher. The cultural exchange also had a positive impact on international relations. Countries that had previously been at odds found common ground in their exploration of Zephyr's knowledge. It became a unifying factor, fostering greater cooperation and understanding among nations. Back at the research facilities, the scientists were also working on other aspects of Zephyr's knowledge. A team of psychologists was studying the impact of the telepathic, like communication concept on human relationships. They hypothesized that understanding the principles behind Zephyr's communication could improve human communication, reduce misunderstandings, and enhance social cohesion. They conducted experiments where participants were trained in techniques inspired by Zephyr's communication. The initial results were promising. Participants reported feeling more empathetic and better able to understand the emotions of others. This could have far-reaching implications for family relationships, workplace dynamics, and international diplomacy, said a psychologist leading the study. As the implementation phase progressed, Emily continued her nightly conversations with Zephyr. One night, Zephyr projected an image of a future where the energy-based food had eradicated hunger, the matter-manipulating machine had transformed industries, and human communication had reached a new level of understanding. But it also showed her potential pitfalls if they were not careful. Zephyr, I see the potential, but also the challenges. How can we ensure that everything goes smoothly? Emily asked. Zephyr then shared more about the importance of continuous evaluation and adaptation. It showed her how on its planet, every new implementation was constantly monitored, and adjustments were made based on the feedback. We need to have a system in place to gather data, analyze the impact, and make changes as needed, Emily said to the team during a project update meeting. The GCCK, taking this advice to heart, established an evaluation committee. This committee was responsible for monitoring the progress of all the projects related to the implementation of Zephyr's knowledge. They would regularly report to the GCCK, highlighting areas of success and areas that needed improvement. In the following months, the energy-based food production started to yield results. The first harvests from the demonstration farms in Africa and Asia were distributed to local communities. The feedback from the consumers was positive. The food was not only nutritious but also had a unique taste. This is a new kind of food, but it's delicious, and we know it's good for us, said a woman in a Kenyan village. The manipulating machine prototype was also nearing completion. The engineers had overcome the energy source problem by developing a hybrid solar and fusion-based power system. The machine was undergoing final testing, and the initial results were showing that it could perform the complex matter manipulation tasks as expected. The cultural exchange program had also led to the creation of new art forms and cultural movements. Artists were inspired to create works that combined elements of human and Zephyr's culture. These artworks were not only aesthetically pleasing but also served as a medium to educate the public about the new knowledge. The psychological research on communication had also made significant progress. The techniques inspired by Zephyr's communication were being incorporated into educational programs and corporate training sessions. People were starting to see the benefits of improved communication in their daily lives. Emily was filled with a sense of pride and accomplishment as she witnessed these developments. But she knew that the journey was far from over. There were still many aspects to refine, and the long-term impact of the new knowledge on human society needed to be carefully monitored. One day, as she attended a meeting of the GCCK, she listened to the reports from different project teams. The council members discussed the future plans, which included expanding the energy-based food production to more regions, further developing the matter, manipulating technology for widespread use, and deepening the cultural exchange to reach more people. These are exciting times, but we must remain vigilant. The knowledge from Zephyr's world is a gift, and we have a responsibility to use it wisely, Emily said to the council members. As the meeting ended, Emily left with a renewed sense of purpose. She knew that the future held both opportunities and challenges, but with the support of the global community, the guidance of Zephyr, and the hard work of the scientists and policymakers, she was confident that they could create a better world based on the knowledge from beyond Earth. Back at the cabin, as the sun set, Emily sat on the porch, reflecting on the day. She looked forward to her nightly conversation with Zephyr, eager to share the latest developments and to receive any new insights. The forest around her was quiet, and the stars were beginning to appear in the sky. It was a reminder of the vastness of the universe and the incredible journey she had embarked on. And as she waited for Zephyr, she knew that the best was yet to come in this remarkable adventure of integrating extraterrestrial knowledge into human society. In the weeks that followed, the GCCK decided to hold an international summit. The summit would bring together all the stakeholders, scientists, policymakers, representatives of international organizations, and members of the public, to review the progress of the implementation and to plan for the future. Emily was given the task of leading the preparations for the summit. She worked tirelessly, coordinating with different teams to ensure that all aspects of the projects were well represented. This summit is crucial. It's a chance for us to showcase our achievements, address any concerns, and chart the way forward, she told the organizing committee. The summit was held in a large convention center in a major international city. Delegates from all over the world filled the halls. The first day of the summit was dedicated to presentations on the progress of the energy-based food, matter, manipulating machine, and other related projects. Dr. Chen presented the success stories of the energy-based food production. We've seen a significant increase in food security in the regions where we've implemented the project. The local economies are also starting to benefit from the new agricultural model, she said, showing graphs and images of the thriving farms. Dr. Ramirez then took the stage to talk about the matter, manipulating machine. The prototype is now fully operational, and we're ready to start the next phase of development, which includes miniaturizing the technology for more widespread applications, he announced, accompanied by videos of the machine in action. The second day of the summit focused on the cultural and social impacts of the new knowledge. Artists, writers, and social scientists shared their experiences and insights. A writer from South America said, the cultural exchange has opened up new horizons for our literature. We're now exploring themes related to the cosmic connection in ways we never thought possible. There were also panel discussions on the ethical implications of the new technologies. One panelist asked, as we continue to develop and implement these technologies, how can we ensure that they are used in an ethical manner? What safeguards do we need to put in place? Emily participated in this panel discussion. We need to have a continuous dialogue among all stakeholders. The GCCK will play a crucial role in setting and enforcing ethical standards. But it's also up to each one of us to be vigilant and make ethical choices, she replied. The summit ended on a positive note, with a clear roadmap for the future. The delegates agreed to continue their efforts in implementing the new knowledge, to expand the projects to more regions, and to further strengthen the cultural exchange. As Emily returned to her cabin after the summit, she was exhausted but elated. She knew that the implementation of Zephyr's knowledge was making a real difference in the world. And as she sat on the porch that night, waiting for Zephyr, she was excited to share the news of the summit's success. When Zephyr arrived, she projected the images and emotions of the summit into her mind, feeling a sense of fulfillment as she did so. Zephyr, in turn, projected a sense of pride and continued support, and together, they looked forward to the next chapter in this extraordinary journey of bringing about a new paradigm for humanity. Chapter 8: The World Transformed. In the months following the International Summit, the momentum behind the implementation of Zephyr's knowledge continued to build. The energy-based food production expanded rapidly, reaching more regions across the globe. The success stories from the initial implementation sites served as beacons of hope, inspiring other countries to adopt the new agricultural model. In South America, countries like Brazil and Argentina integrated the energy-based food concept into their vast agricultural landscapes. The local governments provided subsidies and support to farmers, encouraging them to diversify their crops. The new plants not only thrived in the diverse climates of the continent but also led to a significant reduction in the use of traditional fertilizers and pesticides. A Brazilian farmer, Mr. Silva, said, "At first, I was hesitant to try these new plants. But now, I see the benefits. My farm is more sustainable, and the yield is better than I expected. And the best part is, I'm contributing to a global solution to food security." The Matter, manipulating machine, too, entered a new phase of development. The engineers, having successfully completed the large-scale prototype, were now working on miniaturizing the technology. This would allow for its application in various industries, from small-scale manufacturing to healthcare. In the medical field, the potential of the Matter, manipulating technology was starting to be realized. Scientists were exploring how it could be used to precisely target and repair damaged cells. Early experiments showed promising results in treating diseases like cancer, where the machine could potentially break down cancerous cells at the molecular level without harming healthy tissue. Dr. Martinez, a cancer researcher, said, "This technology could revolutionize cancer treatment. If we can perfect it, it could mean a new era of non-invasive, highly effective cancer therapies." The cultural exchange program, which had been steadily growing, now took on a more immersive form. International cultural festivals were organized, where people could experience the fusion of human and Zephyr inspired art, music, and cuisine. These festivals attracted large crowds, not only from the host countries but also from around the world. In a festival held in Japan, visitors were able to participate in workshops that combined traditional Japanese art forms with the light and energy-based art of Zephyr's world. The result was a new form of art that was both visually stunning and thought-provoking. As these developments were taking place, Emily continued to be at the center of the action. She traveled extensively, visiting the project sites, attending international conferences, and participating in discussions about the future of the new knowledge. Her encounters with Zephyr remained a constant source of inspiration and guidance. One night, Zephyr showed her an image of a future where the entire planet was in harmony, with the knowledge from its world fully integrated into every aspect of human life. But it also projected a sense of caution, warning her about the potential for complacency. "Zephyr, I understand. We can't stop now. There's still so much more to do," Emily replied. Emily took this message to heart and started advocating for a more in-depth educational reform. She believed that the new knowledge should be incorporated into school curriculums worldwide. If we want the next generation to fully embrace and build upon this knowledge, we need to start teaching it from a young age, she said in a speech at an education summit. The idea gained traction, and educational experts from different countries began to develop curriculums that included aspects of Zephyr's world, from its scientific concepts to its cultural values. In schools, students were introduced to the principles of the energy-based food system, the basics of matter, manipulating technology, and the importance of the cosmic connection. The psychological research on communication, inspired by Zephyr's telepathic-like abilities, also had a profound impact on society. The techniques developed were being used in conflict resolution programs, both at the local and international levels. In regions that had been plagued by long-standing conflicts, these communication techniques were helping parties to understand each other's perspectives better, leading to more peaceful negotiations. In the Middle East, a group of diplomats and peace activists used the communication techniques in their efforts to resolve a long-running territorial dispute. One of the diplomats said, "These techniques have allowed us to break through the barriers of mistrust. We're finally having meaningful conversations that could lead to a lasting peace." As the world was being transformed by the knowledge from Zephyr's world, there were also some unforeseen challenges. The rapid expansion of the energy-based food production led to concerns about the impact on biodiversity. Some environmentalists worried that the widespread cultivation of the new plants could disrupt local ecosystems. To address these concerns, a team of environmental scientists was assembled. They conducted in-depth studies of the new plant's impact on the environment. The initial findings showed that while there were some potential risks, with proper management, these could be mitigated. For example, by creating buffer zones around the cultivation areas and promoting the cultivation of native plants, the negative impact on biodiversity could be minimized. The miniaturization of the matter, manipulating technology also raised new ethical questions. There were concerns about the potential for misuse, such as the creation of new, more powerful weapons. The GCCK, in response, established strict regulations and monitoring mechanisms. They required all research and development related to the technology to be transparent and subject to ethical review. Emily was actively involved in these discussions. We need to ensure that the benefits of this technology far outweigh any potential risks. We have a responsibility to use it for the betterment of humanity, not for destruction, she said at a GCCK meeting. In the corporate world, there was a shift in business models. Companies were starting to invest in research and development related to Zephyr's knowledge. They saw the potential for new products and services that could revolutionize various industries. For example, technology companies were exploring the use of the matter, manipulating technology in electronics manufacturing, while food companies were interested in developing new energy-based food products for the global market. However, this corporate interest also led to concerns about monopolization. The GCCK had to step in and establish rules to ensure that the benefits of the new knowledge were shared equitably. They promoted open-source research and collaboration between companies, as well as between the corporate sector and academic institutions. As time passed, the world was gradually becoming a different place. The knowledge from Zephyr's world was no longer a novelty but an integral part of human life. The energy-based food had become a staple in many households. The manipulating technology was being used in various industries, and the cultural exchange had created a more inclusive and interconnected global community. Emily, looking back on the journey, was filled with a deep sense of fulfillment. From a simple encounter with Zephyr in a remote cabin, she had been part of a global movement that had the potential to change the course of human history. One day, as she stood on a hill overlooking a vast field of energy-based plants, she thought about the future. She knew that there would still be challenges, but she was confident in the ability of humanity to overcome them. The knowledge from Zephyr's world had given them the tools, and it was up to them to use them wisely. That night, when she returned to her cabin and met with Zephyr, she shared her thoughts. Zephyr projected a sense of joy and pride, along with images of a future where humanity continued to thrive, using the knowledge to explore the universe and to build a more just and sustainable cosmos. Over the next few hours, Emily and Zephyr discussed the next steps. Zephyr suggested that it was time for humanity to start reaching out to other possible extraterrestrial civilizations. With the knowledge and technology we've gained, we're now in a better position to communicate and connect with other beings in the universe, Emily said to the GCCK in a meeting the following day. The GCCK, after much discussion, decided to launch a new project, the Cosmic Connection Initiative. This initiative would involve the development of advanced communication technologies based on Zephyr's knowledge, with the aim of sending messages into space and potentially making contact with other civilizations. The scientific community was excited about the project. Astrophysicists, engineers, and linguists came together to start the planning. They knew that this was a massive undertaking, but they were driven by the possibility of expanding humanity's understanding of the universe. As the preparations for the Cosmic Connection Initiative began, Emily felt a new sense of excitement. The journey that had started with a simple encounter was now leading humanity towards the unknown, opening up new possibilities for exploration and discovery. And as she continued to work with Zephyr, the scientists, and the global community, she was eager to see what the future held in this ever-expanding adventure of cosmic knowledge. In the following weeks, the team working on the Cosmic Connection Initiative made significant progress. The engineers were developing a new type of communication device that could send and receive signals over vast distances in space. The linguists were creating a universal language system based on the principles of Zephyr's communication, which they hoped would be understandable to other civilizations. Emily was involved in the public outreach for the initiative. She gave interviews to media outlets around the world, explaining the purpose and potential of the Cosmic Connection Initiative. This is not just about making contact with other beings. It's about expanding our knowledge, learning from other cultures, and potentially forging new alliances in the universe, she said. The public response was overwhelmingly positive. People from all over the world were excited about the possibility of making contact with other civilizations. Grassroots movements were formed to support the initiative, and there was a growing sense of unity among humanity as they looked towards the stars. However, there were also some who were skeptical. Some religious groups were concerned that making contact with other civilizations could challenge their beliefs. Others were worried about the potential risks, such as the possibility of attracting hostile alien civilizations. Emily and the GCCK addressed these concerns. They held open dialogues with religious leaders, explaining that the initiative was not about undermining beliefs but about expanding humanity's understanding of the universe. Regarding the risks, they emphasized that the communication would be carefully planned and monitored, and that the goal was to establish peaceful and mutually beneficial relationships. As the project continued to progress, the energy-based food production and the matter-manipulating technology also continued to evolve. The energy-based food was being refined to have an even higher nutritional value, and the matter-manipulating technology was being used in new applications, such as the restoration of historical artifacts. In a museum in Europe, the matter-manipulating machine was used to repair a centuries-old painting that had been damaged by fire. The technology was able to restore the painting to its original condition, much to the amazement of art historians and curators. The cultural exchange program, too, was flourishing. New art forms, Music genres and culinary traditions had emerged from the fusion of human and Zephyr inspired elements. These cultural expressions were not only enriching the lives of people around the world but also serving as a reminder of the power of collaboration and the beauty of diversity. Emily, as she witnessed all these developments, knew that the world had truly been transformed. The knowledge from Zephyr's world had not only solved many of humanity's problems but had also opened up new horizons for the future. And as the Cosmic Connection initiative moved forward, she was excited to see what new knowledge and experiences awaited humanity in the vast expanse of the universe. One night, as she sat on the porch of her cabin, looking up at the stars, she thought about the countless possibilities that lay ahead. Zephyr joined her, and together, they shared a moment of anticipation. Emily knew that the journey was far from over, but she was ready to face whatever challenges and opportunities came their way, for the betterment of humanity and the exploration of the cosmos. Chapter 9 The Cosmic Connection unfolds. The Cosmic Connection initiative had captured the world's imagination, and as the project advanced, the world held its breath in anticipation. The engineers were making remarkable progress with the communication device. They had designed a prototype that was capable of sending high-frequency, encoded signals into space. These signals carried a carefully crafted message, introducing humanity and expressing the desire for peaceful communication and mutual learning. Dr. Lin, the lead engineer on the project, explained, "Our device is a marvel of modern technology, built on the principles we've learned from Zephyr. It can transmit signals over interstellar distances with a high probability of being detected by advanced civilizations." The linguists, on the other hand, had developed a complex yet intuitive universal language. This language was based on a combination of mathematical symbols, basic emotions, and simple geometric shapes, elements that they believed would be understandable across different cultures in the universe. Dr. Amara, a renowned linguist, said, "We've designed this language to be as inclusive and accessible as possible. It's a bridge that we hope will connect us to other beings in the cosmos." Emily was actively involved in coordinating the different aspects of the initiative. She was also responsible for communicating the project's progress to the public. Through a series of global broadcasts, she shared updates on the development of the communication device and the universal language. This is a historic moment for humanity. We're on the verge of reaching out to the unknown, opening doors to new friendships and knowledge in the universe, she told the world. As the news spread, the enthusiasm for the Cosmic Connection initiative grew. Schools around the world incorporated the project into their curriculums, teaching students about the science, culture, and potential implications of making contact with other civilizations. Artists created works inspired by the idea of cosmic communication, from large-scale murals depicting alien landscapes to musical compositions that attempted to capture the essence of the unknown. However, not all reactions were positive. Some conspiracy theorists spread rumors that the initiative was a cover-up for a more sinister agenda. They claimed that the government was using it to distract the public from other issues or that it could attract dangerous alien invaders. The GCCK and Emily were quick to address these concerns. They held press conferences and public forums to explain the true nature of the project and to debunk the false claims. In one such press conference, Emily said, "The Cosmic Connection Initiative is a peaceful and scientific endeavor. We're driven by the thirst for knowledge and the hope of building a more connected universe. There's no hidden agenda, and we're taking every precaution to ensure the safety and well-being of humanity." Despite the efforts to quell the rumors, some people remain skeptical. But the majority of the world's population was behind the initiative. International cooperation reached new heights as countries from all corners of the globe contributed resources, expertise, and funding to the project. As the communication device neared completion, a special launch event was planned. The device was to be installed on a remote, high-altitude observatory, chosen for its minimal interference and excellent line of sight to the stars. Scientists, policymakers, and representatives from different countries gathered at the site for the historic event. Emily was given the honor of initiating the first signal transmission. With a sense of awe and trepidation, she pressed the button, sending the carefully crafted message into the vast expanse of space. Today, we take a giant leap into the unknown. We send our greetings to any beings out there, hoping for a positive response, she said, her voice filled with emotion. After the transmission, the world waited with bated breath. The scientists set up monitoring stations around the world to detect any potential responses. The first few days passed without any signs of a reply, but no one was discouraged. They knew that the signals could take years, even decades, to reach their destination and for a response to come back. In the meantime, the world continued to benefit from the other aspects of Zephyr's knowledge. The energy-based food production had become a global success, ensuring food security for millions. The matter-manipulating technology was being used in more and more industries, from construction to environmental restoration. In the construction industry, the matter-manipulating technology was used to create stronger, more sustainable building materials. Builders could now manipulate the molecular structure of materials to make them resistant to natural disasters like earthquakes and hurricanes. This technology has revolutionized our industry. We can now build structures that are not only safer but also more environmentally friendly, said a construction company executive. In environmental restoration, the technology was used to clean up polluted water bodies. The matter-manipulating machines could break down pollutants at the molecular level, turning contaminated water into clean, usable water. This had a significant impact on regions facing water scarcity and pollution. The cultural exchange program also continued to thrive. International cultural events became regular occurrences, bringing people from different cultures together to celebrate the fusion of human and Zephyr-inspired art. These events not only promoted cultural understanding but also created new economic opportunities for artists and local communities. As the weeks turned into months, the monitoring stations remained vigilant. Then, one day, a faint signal was detected. The scientists were initially cautious, as there were many natural phenomena that could mimic an extraterrestrial signal. But as they analyzed the data, their excitement grew. The signal was unlike anything they had ever encountered before, and it showed signs of being a deliberate communication. Dr. Singh, a senior astrophysicist, said, "This could be it. The characteristics of this signal are consistent with what we would expect from an intelligent civilization. But we need to be sure before we make any announcements." The scientists worked around the clock to decode the signal. They used the universal language they had developed as a starting point, but it was a slow and painstaking process. Meanwhile, the news of the detected signal spread, causing a stir around the world. People were once again filled with a mix of excitement and nervousness. Emily, too, was on the edge of her seat. She visited the research facilities regularly, offering words of encouragement to the scientists. "This is an incredible moment. If this is indeed a response from another civilization, it will change everything," she said. After days of intense work, the scientists made a breakthrough. They had managed to decode a part of the signal. The message, as far as they could tell, was a friendly greeting. The alien civilization, which they tentatively named the Luminaries, seemed to be expressing their interest in further communication. The news was announced to the world, and the reaction was one of jubilation. People celebrated in the streets, and there was a new sense of unity among humanity. Emily, along with the GCCK, started planning the next steps. They decided to send a more detailed response to the luminaries, sharing more about human culture, science, and their desire for a collaborative relationship. As they prepared the response, Emily couldn't help but reflect on how far they had come. From a simple encounter with Zephyr to making first contact with another civilization, it had been an extraordinary journey. She knew that the road ahead would be filled with new challenges and opportunities, but she was ready. The response was sent, and once again, the world waited. This time, the wait was filled with a new sense of hope and anticipation. The encounter with the luminaries could potentially open up a new era of cosmic cooperation, where knowledge, culture, and technology would be shared across the stars. In the following days, the world continued to discuss the implications of the contact with the luminaries. Scientists speculated about the nature of their civilization, while policymakers debated how to approach this new relationship. The public was also engaged in the conversation, with countless discussions taking place in online forums, schools, and community centers. Emily was at the center of these discussions. She participated in international conferences, where experts from different fields came together to discuss the future of the cosmic connection. "We need to approach this with an open mind and a sense of responsibility. The luminaries could teach us so much, and we, in turn, have a lot to offer," she said at one such conference. As the world waited for a response from the luminaries, the energy, based food production and the matter manipulating technology continued to evolve. The energy based food was now being customized to meet the specific nutritional needs of different age groups and health conditions. In the medical field, the matter manipulating technology was being used to develop new treatments for genetic diseases. The cultural exchange program also took on a new dimension. Artists were now inspired to create works that imagined what a relationship with the luminaries would be like. These artworks, from science fiction, inspired paintings to immersive virtual reality experiences, helped to fuel the public's imagination and prepare them for the potential changes that lay ahead. Emily knew that the contact with the luminaries was just the beginning. There were bound to be more civilizations out there, waiting to be discovered. And as humanity took its first steps into this new cosmic relationship, she was determined to ensure that it was based on mutual respect, understanding, and the pursuit of knowledge. One night, as she sat on the porch of her cabin, looking up at the stars, she thought about the luminaries and the future. Zephyr joined her, and together, they shared a moment of quiet contemplation. Emily knew that the universe held countless mysteries, and with the contact with the luminaries, they were about to embark on a new chapter of exploration and discovery. The weeks passed, and the world continued to wait for a second response from the luminaries. During this time, the GCCK established a special committee to handle all aspects of the cosmic relationship. The committee was composed of scientists, diplomats, and cultural experts, all tasked with ensuring that the communication with the luminaries was smooth and beneficial for both civilizations. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, a second signal was received. This time, the message was more detailed. The luminaries shared some of their basic scientific knowledge, which was both fascinating and mind-boggling. They also invited humanity to participate in a joint research project, focused on understanding the fundamental forces of the universe. Emily and the GCCK were overjoyed. This was an incredible opportunity for humanity to expand its knowledge base. They quickly organized a team of the world's leading scientists to study the luminaries' proposal. The scientists were excited about the prospect of collaborating with an alien civilization on such a fundamental research project. Dr. Kim, a theoretical physicist, said, "This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The knowledge we could gain from this collaboration could revolutionize our understanding of the universe. It could lead to new technologies and a deeper understanding of our place in the cosmos." As the scientists began to formulate a response and plan for the joint research project, Emily focused on the cultural and diplomatic aspects. She knew that building a strong relationship with the luminaries would require more than just scientific cooperation. It would involve understanding their culture, values, and way of life. She proposed the idea of a cultural exchange program with the luminaries. We could share our art, music, literature, and traditions with them, and in return, learn about theirs. This would help to build a foundation of mutual respect and understanding, she told the GCCK. The GCCK agreed, and they started to plan how to initiate this cultural exchange. They discussed the possibility of sending virtual exhibitions of human art and culture to the luminaries, along with recordings of music and literature. At the same time, they were eager to learn about the luminaries' culture and were looking forward to any insights the alien civilization could share. The contact with the luminaries had also spurred a new wave of innovation on Earth. Inspired by the idea of cosmic cooperation, scientists and entrepreneurs were exploring new ways to develop technologies that could facilitate communication and collaboration across the stars. There were proposals for new types of spaceships that could travel longer distances, more efficient energy sources for interstellar travel, and advanced communication systems that could handle more complex exchanges. As the world prepared for this new phase of cosmic interaction, Emily looked back on the journey that had led them here. It was a journey filled with challenges, but also with incredible achievements. From the initial encounter with Zephyr to the first contact with the luminaries, each step had been a learning experience. She knew that the future was full of uncertainties, but she was confident that humanity was ready to face them. With the support of Zephyr, the collaboration of the global community, and the new relationship with the luminaries, she was excited to see what the universe had in store for them. And as she continued to be at the forefront of these developments, she was determined to ensure that the cosmic connection would lead to a brighter future for all of humanity and potentially, for all beings in the universe. Chapter 10: Cosmic Collaboration and the New Horizon. The acceptance of the luminaries' invitation for a joint research project marked a new era in humanity's exploration of the universe. The team of scientists assembled by the GCCK was a diverse group, consisting of physicists, astronomers, mathematicians, and other experts from various fields. They spent days poring over the details of the luminaries' proposal, trying to understand the scope and implications of the research. Dr. Hernandez, a senior astrophysicist, led the initial analysis. The luminaries' proposal focuses on the unification of fundamental forces, a topic that has eluded human scientists for decades. Their approach seems to be based on concepts that are both familiar and yet profoundly different from our current understanding, he explained to the rest of the team. The scientists realized that this collaboration would require them to think outside the box. They began to study the basic scientific knowledge shared by the luminaries in their second message, looking for clues on how to approach the joint research. One of the key concepts introduced by the luminaries was a new way of understanding energy-matter interactions at the quantum level. Dr. Patel, a theoretical physicist, was intrigued. If what the luminaries suggest is true, we could rewrite the laws of physics as we know them. This could open up new possibilities for energy generation, space travel, and even the manipulation of time, space fabric, she said, her eyes shining with excitement. As the scientific team delved deeper into the research planning, Emily and the diplomatic, cultural team were busy with the proposed cultural exchange. They curated a collection of human art, music, and literature that represented the rich diversity of human culture. This included classical paintings from the Renaissance, modern, day digital art, traditional folk music from different continents, and works of literature ranging from ancient epics to contemporary novels. The team also prepared detailed descriptions of human values, social structures, and daily life. We want the luminaries to have a comprehensive understanding of who we are as a species. Culture is the key to building a strong relationship, Emily emphasized. The process of sending this cultural package to the luminaries was not without its challenges. The communication device, while advanced, had limitations in terms of data transfer speed. The team had to find ways to compress the vast amount of information without losing its essence. Meanwhile, on the technological front, the ideas inspired by the contact with the luminaries were starting to take shape. A group of engineers was working on a concept for a new generation spaceship. Their design incorporated some of the theoretical principles shared by the luminaries, which could potentially reduce the time taken for interstellar travel. The new spaceship design aimed to use a combination of advanced propulsion systems and a novel way of navigating through space, time. If we can make this work, we could be on the verge of exploring nearby star systems within a human lifetime, said Dr. Liu, the lead engineer on the project. Back at the scientific research front, the team had formulated a response to the luminaries. They outlined their understanding of the joint research project, their proposed contributions, and their eagerness to start the collaboration. The message was sent, and once again, the world waited for a reply. During this waiting period, the world witnessed a surge in public interest in space exploration and cosmic science. Schools and universities around the world updated their curriculums to include the new knowledge gained from the luminaries. Students were now learning about the proposed unification of fundamental forces, the potential of the new spaceship design, and the importance of cultural exchange in cosmic relations. The media played a crucial role in keeping the public informed. Documentaries were made about the journey from the encounter with Zephyr to the contact with the luminaries. These documentaries not only educated the public but also inspired a new generation of scientists, artists, and dreamers. Finally, the response from the luminaries arrived. They were pleased with humanity's response and agreed to the proposed research plan. They also expressed their excitement about the cultural package and looked forward to learning more about human culture. The joint research project officially began. The luminaries shared more in-depth knowledge related to the research topic, and the human scientists started their own investigations. The two civilizations set up a communication protocol to ensure seamless exchange of data and ideas. The cultural exchange also got underway. The luminaries sent back a preliminary response to the cultural package, expressing their admiration for the diversity and creativity of human culture. In return, they shared some aspects of their own culture, such as their unique art forms that were based on light and energy manipulation. The human scientists were amazed by the luminaries' art. It's like nothing we've ever seen. Their art seems to be a direct expression of the fundamental forces they study. There's a deep connection between their art and science, said Dr. Chen, an art historian who was part of the cultural exchange team. As the joint research progressed, the scientists made some early breakthroughs. They discovered a new particle-like entity that seemed to be a missing link in the unification of fundamental forces. This discovery could potentially lead to a new theory of physics. Dr. Hernandez was elated. This is a huge step forward. The collaboration with the luminaries is already paying off. We're on the verge of a scientific revolution, he announced at a global press conference. The news of the discovery spread like wildfire around the world. The public was filled with a sense of pride and excitement. The contact with the luminaries was no longer just an abstract concept but a real, life journey of discovery that was changing the world. In the business world, there was a new wave of investment in cosmic-related technologies. Companies were eager to be part of the new era of space exploration and cosmic collaboration. Some were investing in the development of the new generation spaceship, while others were exploring the potential of the new scientific discoveries for commercial applications. However, with the progress came new challenges. The cultural differences between humans and the luminaries started to surface in the communication. There were misunderstandings regarding the interpretation of some scientific concepts and cultural values. Emily and the diplomatic, cultural team stepped in. They organized a series of cross-cultural training sessions for the scientists and all those involved in the communication with the luminaries. We need to be more sensitive to their cultural nuances. Understanding their perspective is key to the success of this collaboration, Emily said. The training sessions involved in-depth study of the cultural information shared by the luminaries, as well as role-playing exercises to improve communication. Slowly but surely, the misunderstandings were resolved, and the collaboration got back on track. As time passed, the joint research project continued to yield more results. The scientists were now closer to formulating a unified theory of fundamental forces. The new generation spaceship design was also taking shape, with the engineers making significant progress in solving some of the technical challenges. The cultural exchange was also flourishing. The luminaries shared more about their social structure, which was based on a concept of collective consciousness. This concept intrigued human sociologists, who started to study how it could potentially impact human society. Emily, looking at the overall progress, was filled with a sense of fulfillment. The cosmic connection that had started with a simple encounter was now a full-fledged collaboration that was transforming humanity. One day, as she attended a meeting of the GCCK to review the progress of the collaboration, she reflected on the journey. We've come so far, but there's still so much more to discover. The relationship with the luminaries is not just about scientific advancement but also about cultural growth and a deeper understanding of our place in the universe, she said. The GCCK members nodded in agreement. They discussed the future plans, which included expanding the cultural exchange, further developing the scientific collaboration, and exploring the possibility of physical contact with the luminaries. As the meeting ended, Emily left with a renewed sense of purpose. She knew that the challenges ahead were significant, but the potential rewards were immeasurable. The cosmic collaboration was opening up a new horizon for humanity, and she was determined to ensure that it led to a future of peace, progress, and mutual understanding among all civilizations in the universe. Back at her cabin, as the sun set, Emily sat on the porch. Zephyr, who had been a constant companion throughout this journey, joined her. She shared the latest developments with Zephyr, and together, they looked up at the stars. Emily knew that the universe was vast and full of mysteries, and with the collaboration with the luminaries, humanity was now better equipped to explore them. And as the night deepened, she looked forward to the new discoveries and adventures that awaited in the ever-expanding cosmic journey. The following weeks were filled with intense activity. The scientific team, now more in tune with the luminaries' way of thinking, made another major breakthrough. They had successfully developed a mathematical model that could explain the behavior of the new particle-like entity in the context of the unified theory of fundamental forces. Dr. Patel presented the model to the international scientific community. This model is a game changer. It not only provides a framework for understanding the unification of forces but also has practical applications. For example, it could lead to the development of more efficient energy sources based on the manipulation of these fundamental forces, she said. The new model was met with great enthusiasm by scientists around the world. It spurred further research in related fields, with many scientists from different countries joining the joint research project. The luminaries, in response, shared more of their knowledge on energy generation based on the unified forces, which further enhanced the research. On the cultural front, the exchange with the luminaries became more immersive. The luminaries sent detailed descriptions and even some virtual experiences of their daily life, education system, and art creation processes. In return, humanity shared more about its various religions, ethical systems, and the evolution of its social structures over time. The cross-cultural understanding that was developing was having a profound impact on human society. People were becoming more open-minded, and there was a growing sense of global unity. The differences between countries and cultures on Earth seemed less significant in the face of the vastness of the universe and the new relationship with the luminaries. The development of the new generation spaceship was also reaching a critical stage. The engineers had overcome many of the technological hurdles, and they were now building a small-scale prototype. The prototype was designed to test the key features of the spaceship, such as the advanced propulsion system and the space-time navigation mechanism. Dr. Liu, the lead engineer, was confident. The prototype will be a crucial step in validating our design. If it works as expected, we'll be one step closer to making interstellar travel a reality, he said. As the prototype was being built, the public's interest in space exploration reached an all-time high. There were public campaigns to support the spaceship project, with people from all over the world donating to the cause. The media covered every aspect of the project, from the scientific research to the cultural exchange, keeping the public informed and engaged. However, there were still some who were concerned about the long-term implications of the cosmic collaboration. Some religious groups were worried that the new scientific discoveries and the cultural exchange with the luminaries could undermine their beliefs. Others were concerned about the potential for a power imbalance if the luminaries turned out to be more advanced than humanity in certain aspects. Emily and the GCCK addressed these concerns head-on. They organized dialogues with religious leaders, explaining how the new knowledge could coexist with religious beliefs. Science and religion are two different ways of understanding the world. The cosmic collaboration can enrich our understanding of both the physical universe and our spiritual selves, Emily said in one such dialogue. Regarding the power imbalance concern, the GCCK emphasized the importance of building the relationship with the luminaries on the principles of equality and mutual benefit. We're in this together. The goal is to learn from each other and grow as civilizations, not to compete for power, they assured the public. As the prototype of the new generation spaceship was completed, it was time for the first test. The test was carried out in a remote, high-altitude location, away from any potential interference. The scientists and engineers watched with bated breath as the prototype was powered up. The advanced propulsion system roared to life, and the spaceship lifted off the ground. It demonstrated a remarkable ability to maneuver in the air, using the new space-time navigation mechanism to make precise movements. The test was a resounding success. Dr. Liu was ecstatic. This is a historic moment. The prototype has exceeded our expectations. We're now on the right track to develop a full-scale spaceship for interstellar travel, he announced. The news of the successful test spread around the world, and there was a wave of celebration. The cosmic collaboration was not only leading to scientific and cultural advancements but also bringing humanity closer to the dream of exploring the stars. Emily, as she witnessed the celebration, knew that the journey was far from over. There were still many challenges to overcome, such as scaling up the spaceship design, furthering the cultural exchange, and ensuring the long-term success of the scientific collaboration. But she was confident that with the support of the global community, the guidance of Zephyr, and the new friendship with the luminaries, humanity was well on its way to a new era of cosmic exploration and cooperation. As the night fell, Emily returned to her cabin. She sat on the porch, looking at the stars, thinking about the future. Zephyr joined her, and they shared a moment of quiet reflection. Emily knew that the universe held countless possibilities, and with the cosmic collaboration in full swing, humanity was about to embark on a new chapter of discovery and adventure. And as she drifted off to sleep, she carried with her the hope and excitement of what the future held for humanity in the vast expanse of the cosmos. Chapter 11 Towards the Stars and Beyond. The successful test of the new generation spaceship prototype sent ripples of excitement throughout the world. The scientific community, the public, and policymakers alike were filled with a renewed sense of hope and ambition. The dream of interstellar travel, once a distant fantasy, now seemed within reach. The engineers, buoyed by the success, immediately began plans to scale up the spaceship design. They faced numerous challenges in this endeavor, from sourcing the right materials to ensuring the structural integrity of the larger, scale vessel. The advanced propulsion system, while proven in the prototype, needed to be optimized for longer range travel and higher payloads. Dr. Liu, leading the engineering team, said, "Scaling up the spaceship is not just a matter of increasing its size. We need to re-evaluate every aspect of the design, from the energy consumption to the navigation systems. It's a complex task, but we're confident we can overcome these challenges." The scientific collaboration with the luminaries also entered a new phase. The discovery of the mathematical model for the unified theory of fundamental forces opened up new research avenues. The luminaries shared more of their knowledge on the practical applications of this theory, particularly in the field of energy. They described how, on their planet, they harnessed the unified forces to power their entire civilization in a clean and efficient manner. Human scientists, inspired by this, began to explore how they could adapt these concepts for Earth. Dr. Patel, who had been instrumental in developing the mathematical model, said, "If we can replicate the luminaries' energy generation methods, it could solve many of our energy-related problems, such as climate change and resource depletion." The cultural exchange between humanity and the luminaries continued to deepen. The shared knowledge about each other's daily life, social structures, and art forms led to a unique cross-pollination of ideas. Artists on Earth were creating new works that incorporated elements of luminaries' light and energy-based art. In return, the luminaries seemed fascinated by human literature, which they found to be a rich source of emotional and philosophical exploration. Emily, who had been at the forefront of the cultural exchange, noticed a significant shift in the global mindset. People are becoming more cosmopolitan, more open to the idea of a multi-civilization universe. This cultural exchange is breaking down barriers and building a sense of unity among humanity, she observed. However, as the cosmic collaboration advanced, new geopolitical issues began to surface. Some countries were worried about the distribution of resources and knowledge gained from the collaboration. There were concerns that certain nations might monopolize the benefits of the new technologies, especially those related to energy and space travel. The GCCK, recognizing these concerns, stepped in to establish a fair and equitable framework for the sharing of resources and knowledge. They proposed a system where all countries would have equal access to the new technologies and research findings, with the understanding that the benefits would be used for the betterment of all humanity. Emily played a crucial role in promoting this framework. She traveled to different countries, meeting with leaders and policymakers to advocate for the importance of global cooperation. The cosmic collaboration is a collective effort. We can't let geopolitical differences undermine our progress. We're all in this together, and the rewards should be shared, she told a group of world leaders. As the engineers worked on scaling up the spaceship, they also had to consider the implications of interstellar travel on the human body. The long-duration spaceflight would expose astronauts to various challenges, such as microgravity, radiation, and psychological stress. A team of medical researchers was assembled to study these issues and develop countermeasures. Dr. Kim, a leading medical researcher, said, "We need to ensure the health and well-being of the astronauts who will embark on these interstellar journeys. This involves developing new medical technologies, such as advanced radiation, shielding materials and psychological support systems." The public's enthusiasm for the cosmic collaboration also led to a boom in space-related education. Schools and universities were offering new courses on interstellar travel, cosmic science, and cross-cultural communication with extraterrestrial civilizations. Students were more interested than ever in pursuing careers in these fields, eager to be part of the new era of cosmic exploration. In the meantime, the luminaries shared some of their knowledge on interstellar navigation. They described a unique method of using gravitational fields and cosmic energy currents to chart a course through the universe. Human scientists and engineers were working hard to understand and adapt this method for the new generation spaceship. The development of the spaceship and the scientific research were not the only areas of progress. The cultural exchange had also led to the formation of new international organizations dedicated to promoting cosmic-related art, literature, and education. These organizations organized events, exhibitions, and competitions, encouraging people from all over the world to engage with the idea of cosmic collaboration. One such organization, the Cosmic Arts Alliance, held an international art competition. Artists from different countries submitted works inspired by the luminaries and the cosmic journey. The winning artworks were displayed in a global virtual exhibition, attracting millions of viewers. As the months passed, the engineering team made significant progress in scaling up the spaceship. The basic structure of the full-scale spaceship was taking shape, and the propulsion system was undergoing further testing. The medical research team also made headway in developing countermeasures for the challenges of interstellar travel. The scientific collaboration with the luminaries continued to yield new discoveries. The joint research on the unified theory of fundamental forces led to the development of a new type of energy storage device. This device had the potential to revolutionize the energy industry on Earth, providing a clean, efficient, and long-lasting source of power. Dr. Hernandez, who had been involved in the scientific collaboration from the beginning, said, "The collaboration with the luminaries is a goldmine of knowledge. Every day, we're learning something new that has the potential to transform our world." However, with all the progress, there were still challenges to overcome. The cultural differences between humans and the luminaries, while gradually being understood, still posed some difficulties in communication. There were also concerns about the long term sustainability of the cosmic collaboration, especially in the face of potential changes in the political and social landscapes of both civilizations. Emily, along with the GCCK, was constantly working to address these issues. They organized regular cross-cultural training programs for all those involved in the collaboration. These programs focused on improving communication skills and enhancing understanding of each other's cultural norms. Regarding the long-term sustainability, the GCCK proposed the establishment of a joint council with the luminaries. This council would be responsible for overseeing the collaboration, ensuring that it remained beneficial for both civilizations, and addressing any emerging issues. As the idea of a joint council was discussed, the world watched with anticipation. The cosmic collaboration had come a long way, and the proposed joint council could be the next big step in ensuring its long-term success. Emily, in the midst of all these developments, continued to have her nightly conversations with Zephyr. Zephyr, as always, provided guidance and support. It showed her images of a future where humanity and the luminaries had formed a strong alliance, exploring the universe together, and sharing knowledge for the betterment of all. One night, Zephyr projected an image of a cosmic city, built by both humans and the luminaries, floating in space. Zephyr, that's a beautiful vision. I hope we can make it a reality, Emily said. With Zephyr's encouragement, Emily redoubled her efforts to promote the cosmic collaboration. She knew that the journey was filled with challenges, but she was more determined than ever to see humanity reach for the stars and build a better future in partnership with the luminaries. As the news of the proposed joint council spread, there was a mixed reaction from different countries. Some were enthusiastic, seeing it as a way to ensure a more stable and beneficial cosmic collaboration. Others were more cautious, worried about potential loss of sovereignty and the complexity of decision-making in an inter-civilization council. Emily, along with the GCCK, organized a series of international forums to address these concerns. They explained that the joint council would be designed to respect the sovereignty of all parties involved. The decision-making process would be based on consensus, ensuring that the interests of both humans and the luminaries were taken into account. In these forums, representatives from different countries shared their views and ideas. A diplomat from a small African nation said, "We see the Joint Council as an opportunity to have a voice in the cosmic collaboration. It could ensure that the benefits are distributed fairly, especially to countries that are less developed in space technology." On the other hand, a representative from a major space-faring nation expressed concerns about the potential bureaucracy of the Council. "We need to make sure that the Council is efficient and doesn't slow down the progress of the collaboration," he said. The discussions in these forums were productive. The GCCK took into account the various concerns and suggestions and began to develop a detailed proposal for the structure and functions of the Joint Council. As the proposal was being finalized, the engineering team announced another milestone. The full-scale spaceship was now in the final stages of construction. The propulsion system had been successfully integrated, and the navigation systems were undergoing final calibration. Dr. Liu said, "The spaceship is almost ready for its first long-range test flight. This is a momentous occasion. It's a culmination of years of hard work and collaboration." The scientific community was also excited about the potential of the new energy storage device. They were in the process of conducting large-scale trials to evaluate its performance and viability for commercial use. The cultural exchange, too, was reaching new heights. The luminaries had started to incorporate some elements of human art into their own cultural expressions, and vice versa. This cross-cultural fusion was creating a new form of cosmic art that was celebrated around the world. Emily, as she witnessed all these developments, knew that the cosmic collaboration was on the verge of a major breakthrough. The proposed joint council, the completion of the spaceship, and the potential of the new energy storage device were all signs of a bright future. One day, as she attended a meeting of the GCCK to discuss the final details of the joint council proposal, she looked around at the representatives from different countries. "We've come a long way, and this joint council could be the cornerstone of our long-term cosmic collaboration. Let's make sure we get it right," she said. The GCCK members nodded in agreement. They knew that the decisions they made now would shape the future of humanity's relationship with the luminaries and its place in the universe. As the meeting ended, Emily left with a sense of purpose. She was eager to see the joint council established, the spaceship take its first long-range flight, and the new energy storage device change the energy landscape on Earth. The cosmic journey was about to enter a new and exciting phase, and she was determined to be a part of it every step of the way. Back at her cabin, as the sun set, Emily sat on the porch. Zephyr joined her, and together, they looked up at the stars. Emily knew that the universe was full of mysteries waiting to be unraveled, and with the cosmic collaboration, humanity was well positioned to embark on an unprecedented adventure. And as the night deepened, she looked forward to the new discoveries and opportunities that awaited in the vast expanse of the cosmos. Chapter 12 – The Cosmic Leap Forward. The finalization of the Joint Council proposal was a momentous occasion. The GCCK had painstakingly incorporated the feedback from various countries and stakeholders. The proposed Joint Council, named the Cosmic Alliance Council, CAC, was designed to be a platform for equal representation, collaboration, and decision-making between humanity and the luminaries. The structure of the CAC was carefully crafted. It consisted of representatives from different fields: science, culture, diplomacy, and technology, from both civilizations. The decision-making process was based on a system of weighted voting, ensuring that the interests of all parties were considered while also taking into account the expertise and contributions of each member. Emily, who had been actively involved in the proposal's development, presented the details to a global audience. The Cosmic Alliance Council is not just a formality. It's a commitment to a long-term, mutually beneficial relationship with the luminaries. Through this council, we can address the challenges and opportunities that come with our cosmic collaboration, she said. The response from the luminaries was positive. They were impressed with the thought and effort put into the proposal and agreed to the establishment of the CAC. With this agreement, the stage was set for a new era of more organized and sustainable cosmic cooperation. Simultaneously, the full-scale spaceship, christened Stellaris, was ready for its first long-range test flight. The engineering team had overcome numerous challenges during its construction. The advanced propulsion system, which combined elements of the luminaries' technology and human innovation, was capable of achieving speeds previously thought impossible for interstellar travel. Dr. Liu, the lead engineer, was filled with a mix of excitement and nervousness as the test flight approached. This is it. All our hard work has led to this moment. The Stellaris has the potential to rewrite the rules of space exploration, he said. The test flight was to take the Stellaris on a journey to a nearby asteroid belt, a distance that would put the spaceship's systems to a rigorous test. A team of experienced astronauts, who had undergone extensive training in preparation for this moment, boarded the vessel. The world watched with bated breath as the countdown began. 10, 9, 8, the mission control announcer's voice echoed through the airwaves. As the spaceship lifted off, a collective cheer went up around the world. The Stellaris soared through the atmosphere, breaking through the sound barrier and disappearing into the vast expanse of space. On board, the astronauts reported that all systems were functioning nominally. The advanced navigation system, based on the luminaries' gravitational field-based method, was guiding the ship precisely towards its destination. Dr. Chen, the mission commander, said, "The ship is responding beautifully. We're on course, and everything looks promising so far." Back on Earth, the scientific community was closely monitoring the Stellaris's progress. The data being transmitted from the spaceship was providing valuable insights into the performance of the new technologies. The energy-efficient propulsion system was consuming less fuel than expected, and the radiation-shielding materials were effectively protecting the astronauts from the harsh space environment. As the Stellaris approached the asteroid belt, the astronauts prepared for a series of scientific experiments. They were to study the composition of the asteroids, looking for signs of rare minerals and potential clues about the formation of the solar system. The ship's advanced sensors were capable of analyzing the asteroids from a distance, and the astronauts also had plans to deploy small probes for closer inspection. The cultural exchange, meanwhile, continued to thrive. The cross-cultural fusion of art forms had given rise to a new global movement. Artists were creating works that not only bridged the gap between human and luminaries' aesthetics but also inspired a sense of unity among people on Earth. A new genre of music, cosmic symphony, emerged, combining the harmonious melodies of human music with the light and energy-based sounds described by the luminaries. This music was being performed in concert halls around the world, attracting large audiences. In the field of literature, authors were writing stories that explored the relationship between humanity and the luminaries, imagining the adventures and challenges of cosmic collaboration. These works were not only popular among readers but also served as a way to educate the public about the ongoing cosmic journey. The new energy storage device, developed through the scientific collaboration with the luminaries, was also making waves. Large-scale trials had shown that it was highly efficient and reliable. Companies were already lining up to license the technology for various applications, from electric vehicles to grid-scale energy storage. Dr. Patel, who had been involved in the device's development, said, "This energy storage device is a game changer. It has the potential to transform our energy-dependent industries and move us towards a more sustainable future." However, as with any major advancement, there were challenges. The Cosmic Alliance Council faced its first test when a disagreement arose regarding the sharing of scientific data from the Stellaris mission. Some members of the Council from certain countries felt that they were not getting equal access to the data, while others argued that the data needed to be analyzed collectively before being shared more widely. Emily, as a mediator, stepped in to resolve the issue. She organized a series of meetings where all parties could voice their concerns. "We need to remember that our goal is to benefit all of humanity and our relationship with the luminaries. Let's find a solution that ensures fairness and promotes further collaboration," she said. After intense discussions, a compromise was reached. A system was established where the data would first be analyzed by a joint scientific team from both civilizations. Once the initial analysis was complete, the data would be made publicly available, with appropriate safeguards to protect any sensitive information. As the Stellaris completed its scientific experiments in the asteroid belt and prepared for its return journey, the world was filled with a sense of accomplishment. The test flight had been a resounding success, and the data collected was expected to revolutionize the fields of astronomy and space exploration. The Cosmic Alliance Council, having overcome its first major challenge, was now looking ahead to its future role in guiding the cosmic collaboration. The council members began to discuss long-term plans, such as future interstellar missions, further scientific research projects, and the expansion of the cultural exchange. Emily, looking at the progress of the Stellaris mission and the positive development of the CAC, was filled with pride. "We've come so far, but this is just the beginning. The cosmic collaboration has the potential to take us to places we've only dreamed of," she said. Back at her cabin, as the Stellaris made its way back to Earth, Emily sat on the porch, waiting for Zephyr. When Zephyr arrived, she shared the latest developments. Zephyr projected images of a future where the Cosmic Alliance Council had led to the establishment of multiple interstellar outposts, where humans and the luminaries worked side by side. "Zephyr, that's an amazing vision. I hope we can make it a reality soon," Emily said. As the Stellaris entered the Earth's atmosphere and landed safely, the world celebrated. It was a moment of victory for humanity, a sign that the cosmic collaboration was bearing fruit. The scientific data from the mission was immediately shared with the global scientific community, and research teams around the world began to analyze it. The Cosmic Alliance Council held a special meeting to discuss the future of the Stellaris. Some members proposed using the ship for a more ambitious interstellar mission, perhaps to a nearby star system. Others suggested using it as a test bed for further technological improvements before embarking on longer range journeys. Emily, during the meeting, said, "We need to balance our ambition with caution. The Stellaris has proven its capabilities, but we also need to ensure that any future missions are well planned and safe." The Council decided to form a sub-committee to study the feasibility of different options for the Stellaris. This sub-committee would include experts from various fields, such as engineering, astronomy, and astronautics. In the meantime, the cultural exchange continued to expand. The luminaries expressed interest in visiting Earth, and humanity was equally excited about the prospect of hosting them. Plans were being made for a grand cosmic cultural festival, where both civilizations could showcase their art, music, and traditions. The new energy storage device was already being integrated into various industries. Electric car manufacturers were incorporating the device into their vehicles, promising longer range and faster charging capabilities. Power grid operators were exploring how to use the device to store excess renewable energy, ensuring a more stable and sustainable energy supply. The scientific community, inspired by the success of the Stellaris mission, was also looking for new areas of research in collaboration with the luminaries. There was a growing interest in studying the potential of the unified theory of fundamental forces for time, space manipulation, a concept that could open up new possibilities for even faster interstellar travel. Emily, as she was involved in all these developments, knew that the cosmic collaboration was at a crucial juncture. The decisions made now would determine the course of humanity's future in the universe. She continued to work closely with the GCCK, the Cosmic Alliance Council, and the scientific community to ensure that the collaboration remained on track. One day, as she was visiting a research facility to see the progress of the new energy storage device, she met a young scientist. The scientist said, "Emily, your work has inspired me. I want to be a part of this cosmic adventure and contribute to the betterment of humanity and our relationship with the luminaries." Emily smiled. "That's the spirit. We need more young people like you to drive this collaboration forward. The universe is full of possibilities, and together, we can achieve great things," she replied. As the days passed, the plans for the Cosmic Cultural Festival were finalized. It was to be held in a large, specially built complex that could accommodate the unique art forms and performances of both civilizations. The event was expected to attract visitors from all over the world, further promoting the cultural exchange and the cosmic collaboration. The committee studying the future of the Stellaris was making progress. They had identified a potential star system for the next interstellar mission, one that showed signs of having habitable planets. The committee was now working on the mission plan, taking into account the technological requirements, the scientific objectives, and the safety of the astronauts. Emily, looking at all these developments, knew that the cosmic leap forward was not just a dream but a reality in the making. The relationship with the luminaries, the advancements in technology, and the cultural exchange were all part of a larger journey that would shape the future of humanity in the cosmos. And as she continued to be at the forefront of these efforts, she was excited to see what new discoveries and adventures awaited in the ever-expanding universe. Epilogue: A new cosmic era. The Cosmic Cultural Festival was a resounding success, marking a significant milestone in the relationship between humanity and the luminaries. The specially built complex was transformed into a vibrant showcase of the two civilizations' art, music, and traditions. As the festival opened, representatives of the luminaries descended upon Earth in their elegant, energy-infused vessels. Their arrival was met with a global celebration, as people from all corners of the world tuned in to witness this historic event. The luminaries, with their luminous forms and gentle, telepathic communication, were greeted with warmth and curiosity by humanity. The festival grounds were a riot of colors and sounds. Human artists displayed their works, from traditional paintings and sculptures to modern digital installations that incorporated elements of the luminaries' light-based art. The luminaries, in turn, presented their unique art forms, which involved the manipulation of energy fields to create breathtaking visual and auditory experiences. Musicians from both civilizations collaborated to create a harmonious blend of sounds. The cosmic symphony genre reached new heights, with the luminaries' energy-based tones merging seamlessly with human melodies. The result was a musical experience that transcended cultural and cosmic boundaries, touching the hearts of all who listened. The food stalls at the festival were a reflection of the cultural exchange. Earth's diverse cuisines were on display, alongside the energy-based nourishment forms of the luminaries. Festival goers had the opportunity to sample these otherworldly treats, creating a unique gastronomic experience. Emily, who had been instrumental in organizing the event, watched with a sense of fulfillment as people from both civilizations interacted, learned, and celebrated together. This festival is a testament to the power of cultural exchange. It's breaking down barriers and building a foundation of mutual understanding, she said to a group of international journalists. Meanwhile, the sub-committee studying the future of the Stellaris had finalized its mission plan. The target star system, named Nova Prime, was approximately 20 light-years away. The mission, dubbed Stellaris 2, was set to embark in the next 2 years. The plan involved a crew of the most experienced astronauts, along with a team of scientists from various disciplines. Their objectives were two-fold: to search for signs of habitable planets in the Nova Prime system and to conduct in depth studies of the system's unique astrophysical phenomena, which were thought to be related to the unified theory of fundamental forces. Dr. Liu, the lead engineer, was confident in the ship's capabilities for this ambitious mission. The Stellaris has proven itself in the previous test flight. For Stellaris 2, we've made some enhancements to the propulsion system and the navigation technology, based on the new knowledge we've gained from our collaboration with the luminaries, he explained. The scientific community was abuzz with excitement about the upcoming mission. The data from the Stellaris's first flight had already led to several new discoveries in the fields of astronomy and space physics. The potential of exploring a new star system was seen as a giant leap forward in humanity's understanding of the universe. The Cosmic Alliance Council, CAC, was also making significant progress in its operations. It had established a series of protocols for future scientific research collaborations, cultural exchanges, and technological sharing. The Council members, representing both humanity and the luminaries, were working together harmoniously to ensure the long-term success of the cosmic collaboration. One of the key initiatives of the CAC was the establishment of a cosmic knowledge repository. This repository would house all the scientific data, cultural information, and technological blueprints shared between the two civilizations. It was designed to be a resource for future generations, promoting continuous learning and innovation. As the cosmic collaboration continued to thrive, the impact on Earth was profound. The new energy storage device, which had been commercialized, was transforming the global energy landscape. Fossil fuel-based energy sources were gradually being phased out, replaced by clean, efficient energy solutions powered by the device. This shift was not only reducing environmental pollution but also improving the quality of life for people around the world. In the field of transportation, the integration of the new energy storage device into electric vehicles had led to a revolution. Cars, trains, and even airplanes were now capable of longer-range travel with shorter charging times. The dream of a sustainable, low-carbon transportation system was becoming a reality. The educational system on Earth had also undergone a major transformation. Cosmic science, cross-cultural communication with extraterrestrial civilizations, and the study of the unified theory of fundamental forces were now integral parts of the curriculum. Students were encouraged to think beyond the boundaries of Earth and to dream of a future where humanity was an active participant in the cosmic community. Emily, as she reflected on the journey that had started with a simple encounter with Zephyr, was filled with a deep sense of gratitude. Zephyr's appearance in my life was the catalyst for all of this. It opened my eyes to a universe full of possibilities, and it's been an honor to be part of this cosmic adventure, she said in a speech at a global conference on cosmic collaboration. Zephyr, who had been a constant source of guidance throughout the journey, continued to play an important role. It provided insights and wisdom, often during Emily's nightly conversations. Zephyr showed her images of a future where humanity had established multiple interstellar colonies, where the Cosmic Alliance Council had grown to include other civilizations, and where the pursuit of knowledge and the promotion of peace were the guiding principles of the cosmic community. As the years passed, the Stellaris 2 mission was launched amidst great fanfare. The spaceship soared through the cosmos, carrying with it the hopes and dreams of humanity. The crew on board was filled with excitement and determination as they embarked on this epic journey. Back on Earth, the Cosmic Alliance Council continued to oversee the cosmic collaboration. The cultural exchange between humanity and the luminaries had become a way of life, with regular festivals, exhibitions, and academic exchanges taking place. The new energy-based technologies were not only improving life on Earth but also enabling humanity to take its first steps towards becoming a space-faring civilization. The knowledge gained from the luminaries, combined with human innovation, was driving rapid progress in various fields. One day, as Emily was visiting a school to talk to students about the cosmic collaboration, a young girl raised her hand. "Emily, what do you think the future holds for us in the universe?" she asked. Emily smiled. "The future is full of endless possibilities. We're on the verge of exploring new worlds, making new friends among other civilizations, and learning things that we can't even imagine right now. It's up to you, the next generation, to continue this journey and make the universe a better place," she replied. As the Stellaris 2 continued its journey towards the Nova Prime star system, the data it transmitted back to Earth was eagerly awaited. The scientific community was hopeful that this mission would lead to new discoveries, perhaps even the discovery of other forms of life. The cosmic collaboration had become a beacon of hope for humanity. It had shown that by working together, sharing knowledge, and respecting cultural differences, great things could be achieved. Emily, as one of the pioneers of this collaboration, was proud to see how far humanity had come. In the final analysis, the encounter with Zephyr had been the starting point of a journey that had changed the course of human history. It had led to the contact with the luminaries, the development of advanced technologies, and the establishment of a new cosmic relationship. And as humanity looked towards the future, it did so with a sense of optimism, ready to embrace the challenges and opportunities that awaited in the vast expanse of the universe. The Stellaris 2 mission, after months of travel, finally reached the Nova Prime star system. The crew's excitement was palpable as they began their exploration. The sensors detected several planets, some of which showed promising signs of habitability. Dr. Chen, the mission commander, said, "This is an incredible moment. We're on the verge of potentially discovering new worlds that could be home to life as we know it or perhaps something entirely different." The data from the Stellaris 2 was transmitted back to Earth in real time, captivating the world. The Cosmic Alliance Council, along with the global scientific community, closely monitored the mission's progress. As the crew of the Stellaris 2 continued their exploration, Emily knew that this was just the beginning. The cosmic collaboration had opened a door to a universe full of mysteries and opportunities. And as humanity stepped through that door, it was entering a new cosmic era, one filled with hope, discovery, and the promise of a brighter future among the stars. The future held the potential for even more profound discoveries, new alliances with other civilizations, and the continued growth and evolution of humanity in the cosmic community. And Emily, along with countless others, was eager to see what the universe had in store for them in this exciting new chapter of cosmic exploration and cooperation.